Well, welcome to Liverpool Cricket Club under rather more pleasant skies than when we were last with you for Lancashire Lightning against the Derbyshire Falcons in the North Group of the Vitality Blast T20. And welcome to live coverage on YouTube, on Facebook Live, on the ECB and Lancashire website. It is Lancashire Cricket TV with you to bring you every single ball of this game. And we are very grateful to have the blue skies because the weather intervened to completely wash out the entire North Group programme earlier on this week. So as it happens, Lancashire and Derbyshire's last game was against each other on Monday. So familiar foes, but not necessarily familiar stories that they're able to tell so far, with Lancashire having won both of the two games that they've had completed and the Falcons losing both of theirs. Lancashire have won the toss. They've decided to bowl first. It all gets underway at 2:30. We'll have the BBC commentary for you with the pictures a little bit later on as well. Two changes for Lancashire. Luke Wood is in for Liam Hurt, and Stephen Parry plays his first T20 game for the Lightning in a couple of years. He's in for Stephen Croft, who just has a minor injury that he hopes to get over to. Now, we will talk to Dane Villas in just a moment about the game that is coming up. But first, we wanted to introduce two very special guests because the big news of the day is that Mr. Graham Onions, all 732 first-class wickets, 9 England Test caps, has decided to retire, and Paul Allett, the Lancashire Director of Cricket, has come to contextualise the extraordinary career of this gentleman that stood in between us. So, Graham, first of all, I said to you earlier, I'm not entirely sure what to say. Congratulations, commiserations. I know that you wouldn't have wanted to at this stage to retire, but you've told the team. How did they take it, and how busy has your phone been since?
It's constantly going off in my pocket. I've got some lovely messages coming through. It's quite a strange situation to be in, really, because I mean, obviously you play as long as you can, and you never want this day to come, and especially not in my case, when I did feel as though I had a bit left in the tank, and it's kind of been taken away from me due to injury, really, which is hard to take. But then also I think over the next few days and heading into the winter, I'll probably reminisce quite a lot, and I'll spend some time actually kind of accepting where I am, and also looking back at some of the good things and enjoyable times that I have over my career, really. I've been very privileged to play for Durham to start off with and given an opportunity there, and then obviously Paul and Glenn in Lancashire gave me an opportunity to represent this great county, and I can't thank obviously these guys enough, and of course the members at Lancashire as well have been fantastic to me.
It's going to take you a few days perhaps to just think about your career, and it's always very difficult to ask a sports person about their career. They're not very good at being able to look back at it all. So perhaps, Paul, I can bring you in at this point to just give us an impression, not only in terms of county cricket, because the stats are remarkable from Graham, but also his contributions to international cricket as well.
Well, I don't think Graham would mind me saying, but he's an archetypal English seamer. That's what he is. That is no insult at all. It's a huge compliment, because to bowl effectively and bowl well in England, you have to have command over line and length. That's perhaps something that escapes some of the modern day cricketers with the advent of T20 and what will be the 100. Everybody's looking for variation. That's the in word. Well, Bunny didn't bother with that particularly. He used to ply his trade by bowling off stump, hitting an off-stump line and hitting the top of off-stump, and he could do it ball after ball after ball at quite a lively pace as well. At times he was top side of fast medium, and he's done it consistently over any number of years. It's always a sad occasion when a cricketer has to retire and finish his playing. It's even sadder when they have that decision is taken out of their hands, which it has been in Graham's case, because he was intent on carrying on playing for another season at least. We'd even got to the basis of offering him a contract for next year, but unfortunately that's not to be now. But he's got some fantastic memories to take away with him from the game, not only playing for Durham, which he did for the majority of his career, and briefly for England. I think he should have played perhaps a bit more than he did, but also coming down to Lancashire for the last 2 or 3 seasons and resurrecting his career, if you like. He's very quick to pay compliments to the likes of Sam, our physio, and Dave Roberts, our head of medical services, and me and Glenn for giving him the opportunity. But we wouldn't have done that or been able to do that without his attention to detail, attention to fitness, and his dedication to the game. So I think that epitomises him really. That short period that he spent at Lancashire just epitomises the way he's been, truly dedicated and very professional.
Graham, we spent the course of the last couple of weeks since Jimmy took his 600th Test wicket talking about the combination of dedication that Paul just mentioned there, but also the focus on the skill, the art of seam bowling. So how proud are you that you've been able to combine those two things to not only keep going for as long as you have at the top of the game, but also take all those wickets?
Yeah, I think I've loved it. I've had lots of ups and downs throughout my career. I've learned from them. I've enjoyed them. They've without a doubt made me a better person and a better cricketer, really. And Paul's exactly right. When you move counties and you take up a fresh challenge, you're not quite sure what to do. And it was a tough decision to leave Durham because it's my home county, a county that gave me so much love. And I gave a lot to that county as well. But without a doubt, that move did get a couple of fantastic years out of me. So, but equally, it comes with moving away from your family, missing your kids. But also, I just wanted to play as long as I can and love the game and winning trophies. You know, they're not a bad bunch of lads to play with as well. So, I will touch on one point with regards to the medical staff here at Lancs. They have got 2 amazing years out of me. They've pushed me to the limit, pretty much the breaking point. But also they are the best, you know, without a doubt. They've been fantastic. They've helped me along the way, and that's credit to, you know, Dave Roberts and Sam. So yeah, I can't thank them enough.
There'll be cricket fans throughout the world and in this country in particular who will remember your breakthrough into the international test scene when you took that fifer in your debut at Lords. I wonder, you hear so many stories about bowlers and batsmen who felt like they belonged at the moment that they played their first test. Did getting up on the honours board at Lords make you feel like you belonged at that level?
Yeah, not to start off with actually, because the first couple of balls went for 4 and I was thinking I'm not sure if I do belong at this level. But I think what I would like to be renowned for is bouncing back and having that ability to you know, take a few knocks but also come back, you know, twice the person, and I did that in my debut. Not particularly great figures, but obviously 5 wickets is special, and to get on that board is something that nobody can ever take away from me. Did I ever think I would play for England? Absolutely not, no chance. I'm just a Gateshead lad, honestly trying his best and trying to get every ounce of my skill and my effort, really. And I pride, as Paul said as well, I pride myself on looking after my body, being professional on and off the field, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've had such a long career, really.
And 23 balls in particular of batting in your test career will go down in legend. 12 at Centurion and 11 at Cape Town, is that right? Have I got that the right way round? We managed to save tests.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about saving test matches for my country, but we will. We will.
No, we've got longer.
No, you don't want to talk. Yeah, look, you know you're struggling as a little bit as a cricketer when you're renowned for your batting as a number 11. But yeah, fun times. I mean, all these memories that I will look back on and with fondness. Amazing times in my career, which at the moment it is a very strange day. You know, even just thinking that I won't go out there and perform again is very surreal, really. But I look back with some fondness of what I've achieved. You know, that's for sure.
You're staying with us, Graham, but Paul, just before you go, Graham has been helping out with some coaching. He'll be doing that for the rest of the season as well. How much has he been able to contribute in terms of his expertise to some of the younger bowlers here? Well,
when he first came to us, we were intent on using his knowledge, and so through both of the winters that he's been down here, he's been looking after some of our age group bowlers and prospective younger bowlers, and he's been doing that through this summer, even and despite his back injury. So we're very grateful that we've had him and had his ability, and he's been able to do that. It just remains to be seen whether we can carry on with that in the coming seasons.
Paul, thank you very much indeed for your time and for your lovely words about Graham. You're staying, you'll have to have other people say nice stuff about you for the course of the next couple of minutes. Paul, thank you very much indeed. That's Paul Allott, the Director of Cricket at Lancashire. I'm going to magically substitute you out now and bring in somebody clad all in red so you can see him a mile off. It is the Lancashire captain, Dane Vellas. Dane, thanks for joining us. Just briefly, you've won the toss, you decided to bowl. Your 2 wins have come via batting first this season so far in the T20, so what made you bowl first today?
Firstly, it looks like a good wicket. They've done a really good job here at Liverpool, which is always good to see, and it's a fantastic ground. We like playing here. And then also we're just not quite sure how the wicket's going to play, so we just want to have a look first up, and hopefully and we don't think it's going to deteriorate that much as well. So our batting has been good, and we're very comfortable chasing any score they put on, hopefully.
Your 2 wins have been impressive so far. How pleased are you with those completed games, at least, and what you've been able to see?
Yeah, very good. Obviously, the 2 wins stand out, but I think we've been good in all the other games as well. We had a couple of good results. Well, we fielded very well and we bowled very well against Leicester in the other game, and it's a bit tough when you're in a good position and you don't manage to finish a game. But all the guys are playing well. Obviously Keith and Al batting up front. They're batting beautifully, and the guys are bowling beautifully. So hopefully we can continue this form and get another good result today.
Whilst it was raining the other day, you and I just spoke briefly about the dimensions of the ground. Normally you'd think an outground, a smaller ground in terms of its infrastructure, would be a smaller playing surface, but it's not the case. You're going to have to hit big to get 6s and 4s here.
Yeah, it's a massive ground. Obviously with the COVID rules and not having any spectators in, they've managed to spread it out a little bit. Normally you have a marquee at the back there and the stands, but they've really pushed the boundaries out, which is sort of good for our spinners, I think. Hopefully, I'm sure Parky and the guys will be can't wait to lob a couple up and maybe get some wickets. But it's definitely going to be tough for the batters and for the fielders, to be fair. So it's nice. I mean, it's a great ground, like I said, and hopefully we can use it to our advantage. It's big boundaries.
And just before you go, 2 changes that you made. Luke Wood comes in for his first T20 match for Lancashire, but you mentioned spinners. Stephen Parry back in the side as well.
Yeah, it's good to have Pazza back. I mean, obviously he's had a tough road the last couple of years. Hasn't managed to get in, but it's just because of the way Parky's been bowling and stuff. But he's always been there. He's a fantastic servant for the game for Lancs, and he's done well. And I've got no doubt he's going to do well today. And obviously Woody coming back from an injury, he's fit and firing to go. And just what Bunny said a few moments ago about our Lancashire medical staff, they work around the clock, especially with him. I know they keep him busy, but they've been fantastic and managed to get him on the park, which is a huge credit to them.
I don't know who's more happy about the fact that I didn't get you to talk about him, but he's probably happy about it, but you might not have to want to either. Yeah. Dane, thank you. Perhaps we'll do that a little bit later on. Dane Villas, the Lancashire captain, go well today. Dane has won the toss and he's decided to bat first. We're going to bring another guest in a moment, but first of all, let's remind you about what happened between these 2 teams on Bank Holiday Monday.
Here we go. That's much more like it. Roar of approval down below us from the Lancashire dressing room. Flat batted, hard, and all the way.
Oh, this is just a baseball shot from Davis. It's a brilliant shot.
Oh, he's gone even further this time. Fabulous strike from Davis.
Oh, that's beautiful. Great placement, beautiful timing. And that brings up a half century to Alex Davis. Down the ground from Croft. Oh, he's hit that well. He has absolutely nailed this down the ground. Flat 6.
Now he tries it. He's got plenty on it as well, rattling the seats 5 rows back. Now Croft, his second 6. Oh, wanted it. You could see he was lining up for it. The connection is so sweet. The result even more so. That has been hit a long, long, long way.
Beauty. What a beautiful shot. It's almost like a lofted on drive. Absolutely marvellous. High in the air. Should be taken. Fairly simple one. Dane Villas. Easy as you like. Well, not the start Derby wanted. Godalming goes big. Tries to go big. Cleaned up.
Gone. Oh, that's superb. Brilliant from Lamb. I wondered how long it would be before we saw that. That is a Wayne Madsen special.
Now this, he hasn't got. Oh, the second time of asking. It's cleanly struck, but straight down the throat of Long Off. Madsen goes, Jones takes it cleanly this time. Just the one attempt needed. He's going to go down the ground, but he's not got it. Liam Hurt has. Struck very sweetly as well. That's the start. That's the start from Critchley. Oh, it's well bowled. Foxed him. Oh, and he's done. Brilliant from Alex Davis. Really, really fine work. Keeping his nerve. Staying calm. 6 to win off the last ball. It's just fallen short for Derbyshire. Just a single out to deep mid-wicket. And Lancashire breathe a sigh of relief.
And it was that victory against Derbyshire at Headingley, of all places, that took Lancashire joint top of the North Group of the Vitality Blast. That's where they still are, because they've got that extra point from the washout against Nottinghamshire earlier on this week. I'm joined by a player who might have actually been turning out for Lancashire, indeed today, let alone earlier on in this week, and that's Richard Gleeson. But Richard, we've already talked to a bowler stricken by a back injury. You've got problems there too, haven't you?
Yeah, not quite as bad as Graham just yet. Yeah, just struggling, just coming back through COVID and everything with the shutdown, just struggling with the workload building back up. So we just need to give it a little bit of rest.
The strange circumstances that you've mentioned mean that it is a strange season regardless. It's frustrating to have to wait all that time to get cricket back on and then to have an injury. So how much enjoyment can you still take being here and watching the guys?
It gets me out of the house, so that's always nice. And like you say, it was a long build-up, a lot of time on the sidelines, going away in the bubble, and then to finally get to play some cricket was great. But then obviously it's just been a little bit too much too soon for me. But the lad's doing well, so so far it's been quite a good T20 campaign and good to watch. Yeah,
and for 2020 as well for you, Richard, it's been a spectacular year. You got to play in the Big Bash with the Melbourne Renegades. You were away with the Lions as well in Australia. So you managed to pack plenty of achievement into the first half of the year at the very least.
Yeah, I got something in early on, so it put me in good stead for at least getting something in this year.
We want to spend some time talking about the bowling efforts that we're going to see immediately from Lancashire. They've won the toss, they have decided to bowl, and give us a little sense for all us laymen and laywomen watching and not necessarily understanding the different skills that are involved in bowling first up and bowling at the death, which is two roles that are often required of you. So to start with, first up, I mean, we don't necessarily know, and this is what Dane Villas said, what the pitch is going to do today. So how do you prepare for the first couple of overs, or at least your first couple of overs?
I think me personally, I do quite a lot of work beforehand. I like to get a few overs under my belt in the warm-up, see if the ball's swinging, you get a little bit of a feel for the atmosphere, and if it's doing anything through the air, and you get a little bit of an inkling from the pitch. It does look like there's a little bit of grass there, so you should be some good pace and carry. And then it's all about trying to get a little bit of movement out of the pitch early on, and if you can deceive the batsman with a little bit of sideways movement. And then, like you say, with the death bowling, for me, a good Yorker, you can't go amiss with a good Yorker. If it's one of the hardest balls to hit when it's executed properly. There's obviously all the skills with the slow balls and things like that, but for me, always go back to your Yorker. It's one of my strengths.
We can welcome Graham Onions back. He's got a lot of people wanting to talk to him today for some reason. Perhaps this is the opportunity that we didn't have with Dane. Richard, tell us a little bit about Graham's role as a bowler and how much that has helped you, but also just as I don't want to put words into your mouth, but perhaps a mentor as well.
I heard him talking about how he likes to be professional on and off the pitch, and I can vouch for that. He never buys the lads beer after the game. He's always very professional with that. But his numbers speak for themselves. He's obviously a brilliant bowler. He's done brilliant things over the years. And I heard Walt talking about how he's helped the young lads, but it's not just the young lads. It's the likes of myself and Tom Bailey. I know when I joined from Northants, my debut game up at Headingley, Bunny spoke to me about just trying to bowl some wobble seamers, just trying to hit a good area and not really try and swing the ball and just build the pressure. And I hadn't really heard much about that. So we did a lot of work in the winter as well with Chappie as well. And that's something that I really worked on, and that helped me a lot last season to times when the ball wasn't swinging and when the pitches were flat, just to get a little bit of control. So it's not just the young lads that he helps. It's the old lads like myself, and his knowledge is second to none.
There is an element, isn't there, of some of us who watch the game who can never really appreciate the amount of work that goes into producing what you guys do on the pitch each and every time. But we get a little bit of an insight when we're able to spend some time perhaps with bowlers and talking about their art. But Graham, it's an interesting point that you can still learn. I mean, Richard's young in terms of his body because he only made his first class debut at 27, so he's a wee pup. But given all those overs that you have put into the game, how much did you continue to learn throughout your 30s and perhaps even until now?
Look, it's a really good question, and I think it's a tricky one to answer because right now we've got loads of different formats of the game. We've got people getting this red zone, they can't bowl too much. I learned my trade at Durham by bowling, and people seem to think, oh well, did you only bowl X amount of days? If I wanted to bowl, I would bowl, and I'd bowl always to get better all the time. I think some people bowl to maybe get their overs up and maybe tick boxes at times. It's important that you constantly have that desire to do it for your teammates, want to get better, but do it for yourself. I said to the lads before, I said, look, you've got to love this game. I don't mean just love it. I mean like really love it and want to get better all the time. Also, as well as I said, look, you've got to love the ups and downs. There's a lot more downs than what there are ups, unfortunately. But if you get your head round, you learn from it. It makes them good days even better. I think I've gone slightly off piece a little bit there, but I think what I'm trying to say is that you've got to love the game. You've got to love coming to practice, learning, wanting to get better all the time. Get Dane to throw you the ball and say, look, I want you to get us a wicket here. Break that partnership. Who's going to win this T20 today? And that's what always, I suppose, got me, past that stage of being okay to being a little bit better all the time. And I did that, kind of day in, day out.
Yeah, that desire and dedication that we've been speaking about. We're going to show you now some footage of a certain gentleman who's playing today, his first T20 match for Lancashire, Luke Wood. He was extraordinary for Nottinghamshire Outlaws last year, where he took 2 wickets, I think, in his first over and had you kind of hamstrung at 2 for 2. What can you tell us about Luke and what to look out for in today's game?
Obviously, the ball swinging back with his left arm. I think that's how he got both. Was it Alex and Steve last year?
Yes, yeah.
So that's one of his main skills. We spoke about trying to move the ball early on, and that'll be what he'll be trying to do. I would have thought. Hopefully, he can get 2 in the first over again today. That'd be a perfect start.
Yes, he's certainly got a chance to do that. But Graham, he's one of those players, isn't he, that has been kind of on the fringes in terms of national recognition, and now he's got an opportunity with Lancashire, a county who, everybody else will forgive me, a lot of people pay attention to. So how is he going to enjoy the limelight that he's got this afternoon and for the rest of the T20 campaign in particular? Yeah,
absolutely. I think when we signed him, we were very surprised that Notts were almost happy to let him go. We thought he's an absolutely fantastic signing. He's a good lad as well, and he fits into our dressing room. I think what he brings as a cricketer is a decent hitter, lower order. Sorry, I say decent. He's a good lower order hitter.
Everything's relative, Graham.
So, and obviously his height, he skids the ball on nice, and he bowls, mid-80s as well. So you mix that in with some good slow balls and some good Yorkers as well. And I'll class him as a match winner. He can come in, and I think he, obviously with my situation, he'll come in like Sir Richard as well. Come in and they'll have more opportunities now to go out there and express themselves on the field, and it's good. I mean, that's one thing for my situation. It will give these lads opportunities to go out there and perform, and they won't see me around anymore.
Yeah, there are plenty of people out there wearing red who look at you two standing here thinking, yes, brilliant, I've got a chance now, haven't I? But you've both mentioned the word pressure, which is what we always hear in terms of Test cricket, building that pressure. And Richard, you spoke about trying to get some sort of movement in terms of taking wickets, but just from both of you, how significant is that word pressure? How can you build pressure with such a short game?
Dot balls, that's the first one. You try and dictate, I think, as a bowler early on. If you can get on top and really drive that home and build that pressure, you get a few dot balls on a batsman. It can entice them to do something that they maybe don't want to do, make them look at different options within their armoury. And if you can keep ticking the box and putting that pressure onto them and get them to try something that they don't want to be doing, you're more likely to try and get that wicket. I think trying to play positive cricket is something that I think Graham has always tried to do, always try and take the wickets. I know it's something I like to try and do, always look for the wicket option and get a new man in, and again you can start building that pressure again.
Dare I say it, there is a place even in this game for line and length, Graham.
Yeah, look, I've always said bowl your best ball, and you're not going to go far wrong from top of off on a good line and length really. And if you can swing it, great. But also, I would say, like as a bowling unit, that comes from fielders as well. Putting them under pressure, having your fielders in the right place, dealing with the pressure side of things. That if you bowl a good ball and he hits you out the park, can you bounce back and produce your best ball again? And if he keeps hitting you out the park, then maybe it's not your day. You might have to go to plan A, B or C. But ultimately, I think we're good enough cricketers. You talk about Woody. If he bowls top of off stump and he's swinging it away, good luck to the batters really.
Yeah, so if you get done by a good ball when you're a batter, you can also say the same thing about getting done by a good shot, can't you? Gentlemen, it's been wonderful to have your company. Richard and Graham will both be back a little bit later on. Are you going to call a winner of this, or is that too easy a question to ask?
Oh, Lancs every
day.
Yeah,
Lancs all the time, yeah.
Too easy.
A completely pointless suggestion of mine. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. So plenty to come over the course of the next few hours. You'll be able to enjoy ball-by-ball commentary, all the pictures coming your way via YouTube, Facebook Live, the Lancashire website, and indeed the ECB website, Lancashire Cricket TV, bringing you all the commentary in the company of the BBC's Scott Reed and Dave Fletcher. We'll speak to you again in a moment.
Hello, good afternoon and a warm welcome to Egbert for the Vitality Blast fixture between Lancashire Lightning and the Derbyshire Falcons. We're here on Wednesday and, well, we weren't here for long on Wednesday because it was rained off. It was absolutely biblical at times, but thankfully it is much, much brighter. We can see the players, we've had the toss, we've had confirmation of the teams, we've had an announcement of a retirement from an England and county cricket legend. I'm alongside Dave Fletcher. It's been a busy morning, Dave. Good afternoon.
Hasn't it just? Yes, good afternoon, Scott. Yeah, very busy. Well, I've been slightly less busy than you, which is often the way. I just like to keep a low profile when I get to grounds, you know me. I've had some lunch, though. First time at a cricket ground this season I've been fed.
Well, I'm pleased that
and I'm a happy man now.
Not
I'm a happy man now. I don't care what happens.
And what was it for lunch?
Quite a spicy little pasta and chicken.
Lovely.
Yeah,
very
bit of garlic bread.
In terms of the news from the middle, you've got the details because I haven't.
The real news, the news from the middle was that Lancashire won the toss and put Derbyshire in to bat. So the Derbyshire openers are out there at the moment. It'll be Lewis Rees to face the first delivery. We are. This really is taking me back. We are side on here at Egbert, which is very exciting because it's like being back at the county ground in Derby when I first started doing this, when we were in the old scoreboard, which doubled up as a commentary box. It didn't double up particularly well. There were lots of low beams. There are no low beams here because we're in an enormous tent. Tent doesn't quite do it justice. We're going to see spin to kick us off. I imagine that's Stephen Parry, but I'll let you know in a minute. This first delivery is, in fact, it's Tom Hartley. It's clipped up to long on by the left-handed Lewis Rees, and we're underway. Tom Hartley opening the bowling. Is that right? Number 2.
It is. Yes, spot on. Yeah.
I've got one right.
You've hit the ground running.
I can't see where Josh Bohannon is. He was everywhere on Monday at Headingley. So,
everywhere you turned, he was there.
Every time I was looking for the Lancashire player, he was on commentary. He was on in possession of the ball. Second delivery from Hartley is pushed into the onside by Billy Godalman, where it's fielded by Dane Villas. So it remains one without loss early in this contest. And goes back into his crease and turns it nicely into the leg side. There might be 2 there, is there? No, there's only 1. We are also at ground level, so my depth perception might not be what it should be. I mean, this is how I watch cricket when I get a chance to every Saturday afternoon from ground level, so I should be used to it, but when you turn up at a professional match and you're at ground level, it just takes a moment or 2 to get used to it. This one is a couple of steps down the track and launched down the field by Lewis Rees, but stopped there by the man at long on, so he only picks up another single. 3 without loss. Scoreboard rudimentary but functional. Well, it's a long way away and the numbers are very small. as Hartley's in again, and this one's turned very nicely into the leg side by Billy Godleman for another single. So a steady, if unspectacular, start from Derbyshire so far. Final ball of the over, I fancy. 4 without loss, 4 singles and a dot ball. So nothing too spectacular so far. Next over, we could be peppered if the batsmen, both left-handers, actually get it right, which is a slight concern. Hartley in to complete the over, then bowls. That one is chopped into the ground and misses the stumps by an inch, I fancy, because everybody's got hands on heads. He chopped it down into the ground there, Lewis Rees. It bounced down and behind him, and I think it might even have touched the stump the way Rees is just pointing at it with his bat. The first over comes to an end, and a good one it was too. Just 4 runs from it. Derbyshire 4 without loss. I think that was very close indeed.
Wasn't far, was it?
Being curtains for Lewis Rees against his former county. He's played them many times before, of course. Matt Parkinson, is that Matt Parkinson? Is that? It's Luke Wood, isn't it? It
is, yeah. So Luke Wood, one of 2 changes for Lancashire. And it's his first appearance of the T20 competition this year for the Red Rose. Got injured during the course of the Bob Willis Trophy match at Trent Bridge. But Wood and Stephen Parry coming into the Lancashire team.
Look who's right near us.
It's your mate.
It's Josh Bohannon. So I live and breathe. He's no good in being here because I can see him. It needs to be somewhere else where I can guess that it's him. Sorry, carry on.
No, it's all right. I thought it was quite amusing. This dates back to the game at Headingley on, what day was it? Monday?
Monday, I think.
On Monday, where every time the ball went to a fielder and Dave Fletcher was commentating, it went straight to Bohannon.
And he was everywhere, wasn't he? He was at mid-wicket one side, mid-wicket the other side, then he popped up at long on, and oh dear, he was absolutely everywhere.
So yeah, Wood and Parry coming into the team for Lancashire, replacing Croft, who's injured, and Liam Hurt. So here's Luke Wood, left arm up the wicket, bowling, and that's pulled, and that beats the infield, and that run down towards the boundary at fine leg where Graham Onions fields, and there is 4 runs for the Derbyshire Falcons. We're going to hear from Graham Onions during the interval because he has today announced his retirement from the game.
Sad. I know it comes to us all, but it's always sad when that game that he and Jimmy Anderson played up at Derby last season. They were astonishing, weren't they?
Yeah, it was
astonishing.
Yeah. It's a 16-year career.
Yeah.
Obviously, great success with Durham in the county championship.
We'll gloss over that.
Wood in, balls to Godleman, who's pushing up into the onside. Parry's at short mid-wicket and fields, and there's no run. And, of course, capped by England as well. Yeah. 9 caps, I think, test caps for England. So, yeah, we're going to hear from
fewer than he should have got, I think most people would suggest. When you think back, you always think of him as an England player, and then when you say 9 caps, you think, really? Just 9?
It was in that era where there were the choices, the bowling choices that England had, was probably the reasons why, like say Glenn Chappell would never got a shout.
Absolutely.
Wood to Godleman, that wraps him on the pad. He's got no idea where the ball's gone, and Lewis Rees calmly says, "Get back," because the ball just popped into the onside where Rob Jones fields, and there is no run.
I don't think it'll be long before Billy starts dancing down the pitch. The photographers who are right behind the bowler's arm at the moment near the sight screen are in danger because he does like a dance down the track. There's Lancashire staff taking advantage of your handiwork so they can see the pitch. That's outrageous. They're no help whatsoever. That's not fair, but
we've had to gaffer tape the front of the gazebo. Godleman off the back foot, clipping the ball just off his hip behind square on the leg side. Bohannon comes up to field. Godleman gets a single, and the Derbyshire Falcons move on to 9 without loss. We're in the second over of this T20 Blast game at Egbert, Liverpool Cricket Club, between Lancashire Lightning and the Derbyshire Falcons.
Just a lick of paint, and that would be magnificent. That pavilion, wouldn't it? Just a lick of green paint. I think it's a terrific building.
It's quite a big building too, as well. It's a real maze inside. It's a grand-looking red brick building. As Wood runs in towards it, and Rees clips it through square leg. Bohannon stomping up with real pace from deep backward square to field. Rees gets a single, and Derbyshire move on to 10 without loss in the second.
Lots of little rooms. I've been here once before, many years ago, and that was the one thing that struck me was how are they going to make it safe in these times, and obviously they're barely using it, Derbyshire, over on the far side in their own gazebo and that kind of thing, because it's almost like a house, isn't it? There's like a sitting room and a lounge, and you're right, maze is the right word for it. It's an incredible building.
It towers above the ground at Egbert. There's Wood to Godalmand, again right back into the crease, flicking the ball to Bohannon, and Godalmand gets through for a single. I think he's pinched the strike. That's the end of the over. It is. So 2 overs gone, 11 without loss, with Billy Godalmand on 8 and Lewis Rees on 3. Yeah, it's taken some time for Lancashire, Dave, to get it not just ready to host this standard of cricket, which in itself does take time to get a ground ready, but to get it COVID ready as well, get it secured to safely stage games. That's the reason why Lancashire had to wait basically and to get into September before they can actually play here. Bearing in mind that Emirates Old Trafford has been used for international cricket, they've had to get basically 2 venues ready, one for international cricket, one for domestic cricket.
It's a good effort, and the cricket at Old Trafford has been most welcome in the Fletcher House, I can tell you, because but for that I think I'd have crawled up the wall when the West Indies finally came to town. Tom Bailey earlier, I think, from memory, than at Headingley last time out. It's Billy Godalmand does dance down the pitch, and he's going to get caught here, and he is caught at mid-on. A very straightforward catch by Luke Wood. Billy Godalmand perishes to the first ball bowled by Tom Bailey. Lancashire strike, Derbyshire 11 for 1.
Yeah, Godalmand's a key wicket, isn't he, for Lancashire, and to have got him pretty cheaply is a real bonus for Lancashire Lightning. His record with Wayne Madsen, absolute standout performance with the bat for Derbyshire, so that's a nice boost that for Lancashire to have picked out Godalmand pretty early on, right at the start of the 3rd over.
He charged slightly later than I imagined he was going to do, but he did charge Tom Bailey. First ball that Bailey bowled, perhaps he might have waited and had a look at one first, but no, he decided that was the one to go after. And here is the miracle man, because I saw him limp away from Headingley on Monday night. Looked like he'd never play again, Wayne Madsen, because he had the ankle ligament damage. I had a brief chat to him when he was parking his car. It's such a joy to actually be able to talk to players as well, which we haven't had much chance to do. And he was saying he was in a lot of pain on Monday night. Wouldn't have played on Wednesday at Durham, and in fact they named the team. They had the toss, named the team, and then it rained again, and obviously the game was abandoned without a ball being bowled, which has rescued his unblemished record, because he's played countless games in a row for Derbyshire. Bailey's in again and bowls 2. Rees just clips this into the leg side. They've run the first one pretty quickly. He looks okay out there, Madsen. Just looking for any signs of a limp. Can't see any at this stage. And the score moves up to 12 for 1.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see him, and it's great to see him up and about, walking freely and running freely, because he looked like he was struggling on Monday. Well,
he was, clearly. I'm surprised to see him, especially the reason I'm surprised to see him is that on Sunday these sides meet here on a 4-day game, and it's a game that Derbyshire simply have to win, because they are one of only 2 teams in the North Group who can still qualify for the Bob Lords. Bob, good heavens, I've turned all Burnley all of a sudden. The Bob Willis Trophy. Where did that come from?
I've called it like myself already.
Unbelievable. It's Bailey in pause. Oh, and that one's a little aerial off the bat of Wayne Madsen, but again, depth perception, not great. And it lands very safe as Rob Jones comes in from the boundary to do the fielding. 13 for 1. But I would have thought that if he wasn't 100%, that he wouldn't have played in this game, where Derbyshire they've been quite ordinary, in all honesty, in T20 so far, with 2 washouts and 2 defeats. And qualification is going to be very tricky from this point. But in the Bob Willis Trophy, they have a proper opportunity to qualify. So he must be 100%.
That's good.
Must be.
It was a fabulous knock on Monday, wasn't it? Brilliant.
He was brilliant on 2 legs, and then he was quite good on 1, wasn't he? Yeah, he was. Yeah, he injured himself playing one of his many and varied ramp shots. And when you looked at the replay, I mean, I'm surprised he got up at all. He waits at the non-strikers end as Rees tries to flick this latest delivery from Bailey down the leg side, and it's signalled. Oh, wow, that looks like Graham Lloyd at the pavilion end to me, and Steve O'Shaughnessy at square leg. There are umpires, certainly this afternoon. That's definitely Graham Lloyd, the standing umpire, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Umpires not being asked to travel too far these days, which is fair enough, as Bailey bowls, and off the back foot it's driven by Lewis Rees. It isn't fielded by Keaton Jennings, who is wearing a hat today, which is slightly disappointing. He didn't wear a hat on Monday, which was good. It beat him, but it didn't beat the man at mid-off. And as a result, there's no run. It remains 14 for 1. Scott's gone, which is a slight concern. Aeroplane, light aircraft of some sort going overhead. Can't see it. There are grey clouds up above. He's going to get another chair for our surprise guest later on. Rees dances down the pitch and misses. Big swing at that one. And I couldn't tell you from this vantage point how close he got to it, but there were no oohs and ahs, so it suggests it was a long way from the edge of the bat, let alone the middle, as it flew through to the wicketkeeper Alex Davis, who batted beautifully on Monday. So it remains 14 for 1.
It's a good game on Monday, wasn't it?
It was a good game, yeah.
Because you got to right towards the end. You're not entirely certain which way it was going to go.
I had an inkling.
Did you? Oh, I thought he was pretty near.
The 6 off the first ball of the last over made it very interesting, didn't it? Hit by Matt Critchley just kept it interesting, yeah. Final ball of the third over then I might have to just nip off for a couple of minutes if you don't mind.
No, you nip off, it's no problem.
Lewis Rees waits as Bailey delivers the ball, and it's driven very pleasantly straight back down the ground. There's a shot at the stumps and he's gone. You could see from where we are perfect for run outs, and Rees has been run out. There's a terrific throw. Luke Wood again with the throw, and direct hit, and Rees was always going to be in bother, and Lewis Rees perishes, and Derbyshire have lost both of their openers now. Lancashire with a good start here after 3 overs. Derbyshire 14 for 2.
Yeah, sharp piece of fielding again, wasn't it? Direct hit, you're always going to be struggling, and umpire Lloyd in position nice and early to give that and make the call on that. Actually, we're in a decent position to make a call on that, aren't we, as well?
I'd have given him straight away myself.
Looking square on. So yeah, good start this for Lancashire. A couple of wickets inside the first 4 overs, or into the 4th over, and 2 wickets down already. Just 14 runs on the board is a pretty solid start for the Red Rose. Just looking at the other T20 games which are taking place, is one other game which is currently happening, a game in Bristol between Gloucestershire and Worcestershire Rapids in the Central Group. Gloucestershire 95 for 2. And there's some evening games as well. 6 o'clock, Notts Outlaws against the Leicestershire Foxes. Durham against Yorkshire Vikings at 6:30. Somerset take on the Birmingham Bears at 6:30 as well. But you're with us live from Egbert, from Liverpool Cricket Club. And we've got Luke Wood bowling from the river end of the ground. He's in and bowling. That's a little tickle by Duploy down towards backward square leg, where Bannon sweeps away to his left hand side to field the ball, and Duploy comes back for a second. So Duploy joining Wayne Madsen out in the middle. Quite cloudy conditions here, but much better than Wednesday, where it was pretty biblical at times. The rain was bouncing down. Great to see much improved weather forecast today. Wood in balls just back of a length to Lewis Deploy, who punches up to mid-off, and there is no run. So we're in the power play. So Lancashire have got 2 fielders outside the 30-metre circle. Currently at 3rd man, and at a deep backward square leg. There's a short fine leg, backward point, cover, short cover mid-off, mid-on and mid-wicket. Luke Wood, the blonde-haired left-arm seam bowler, has worked away through square leg, where Parry will go chasing after it, but Bahanan will beat him to it. Throw comes in on the bounce to Alex Davis, and Duploy through for a single. And the score moves on to 17 for 2. We're hoping that actually that Stephen Croft might join us for a little bit, but Croft, one of the 2 changes for Lancashire today, there being Liam Hurt. So a first start of 2020 for Stephen Parry, who's not featured so far in either the Bob Willis Trophy or the T20 Blast up until this stage. Lancashire have got 3 frontline spinners in the team: Parry, Parkinson and Hartley. Wood bowls. Madsen trying to work it through the onside, but ball just deflects off his pad, rolls back down the pitch, gathered by Wood off his own bowling, and there is no run. And this is a first of a sequence of games here, first of a week worth of games. It's like a little mini festival, because we're here on Sunday for the Bob Willis Trophy fixture between these two teams. So we're based in Merseyside for the next few days, bringing you the cricket coverage. Wood bowls, played towards point where Bohannon fields, and there is no run. So into the 4th over, 17 for 2. A victory for Lancashire will take them top, move them 2 points top. Actually 2 points clear of Notts, at least for a few hours. Obviously Notts play later on, but move them a couple of points clear at the top. And as for the Falcons, as Wood comes in and bowls, and it's a wristy shot which he just worked away through the onside, but there is no run. That's the end of the over. 5 gone, 17 for 2. Derbyshire in this competition, with that defeat on Monday, well, they're second from bottom. Durham at the minute just the 1 point, which is from that no result, but they've not yet won a game. Falcons have played 4, they've lost 2, and 2 no results. Yorkshire Vikings are 4th, played 4, and they've got 4 points. Leicestershire Foxes are 3rd, 5 points from their 4 games. Lancashire Lightning 6 from 4, and Notts also 6 from 4. Here comes Tom Bailey bowls. It's jabbed away into the offside. It's picked up by Tom Hartley, and there is no runs. That's how the North group looks. Of course, you have to finish in the top 2 to be guaranteed a place in the quarter-finals, and also as well 2 of the best placed 3rd place sides also reaching the quarter-final stage. But this is the 5th game rather of the group, so this is the halfway point when we finish this fixture. Is Bailey bowling again? That's off the back foot, pushed away into the offside where Keaton Jennings fields, and there's no run. Stephen Cross going to join us. I'm going to sanitise his microphone, which obviously is the proper thing to do. Well, I've already sanitised it once, but I'm going to hand it to him via a sanitising wipe. You see, so we're doing it all nice and properly here. That's nice and safe. Stephen, let me hand you that. There you go. As Bailey runs in with the pavilion behind him, 17 for 2, bowls. Duploy moves into this delivery and works the ball out towards backward square leg and gets through for a single. Score moves on to 18 for 2. Stephen, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Are you well? Well, obviously not. You're not playing.
Yeah, well, as can be. Slight niggle in my car, so take the best just to unfortunately sit this one out just in case it didn't go properly. We'll probably finish the season with not too many games left.
And just as you sum up your situation, that 3rd wicket has fallen. A little tickle down the leg side, and Madsen departs with Davis taking a catch low to his left hand side. Bailey strikes, the 3rd wicket to fall in the 5th over. 18 for 3 on the pitch. Stephen, it's gone well so far.
Yeah, brilliant. 3 danger men gone as well, and wanted to see how this pitch would play. We know the age of the red ball really, so we haven't played it in T20 for a while. So yeah, great toss to win, and it's looking a brilliant start for us.
In terms of the competition so far, are you pretty happy with where Lancashire Lightning are based? 2 wins from the first 4, you're level with Notts at the top.
Yeah, massively for how we've come into the comp with not practice, and obviously 2 overseas is down, like most teams really, but yeah, we play some tremendous cricket with some experienced faces as well, to get some great game time and some good senior heads as well around, so it's been a great start. And, yeah, 2 from 2 and the washout was what we could do really, so we're very happy.
Tom Bailey's not played a T20 match for 3 years prior to this summer. You wouldn't think so, would you?
No, he's really at
He's bowling from the pavilion end here at Egbert. And Matt Critchley is the new batsman, but Lancashire have got through 3 so far. We're in the 5th over, 18 for 3. Barely balls to Critchley, just pushes away into the offside. And there is no run. Clearly shows the strength of Lancashire's squad over the last couple of years, isn't it? That Bailey can't get a game. Critchley taps the bat. Here's Bailey into to Critchley. Wraps him on the pad. Bailey asks the question. The ball deviates out into the offside. The umpire says not out. That's the end of the 5th over. So 5 gone. 1 left at the power play. 18 for 3. Critchley on 0. Deploy on 14. The wickets of Lewis Rees run out by Luke Wood for 4. Billy Godalming for 8. And Wayne Madsen for 1. We'll bring Dave Fletcher in at the end of this next over. But yeah, I mean, so far, I mean, it's been great to have had the cricket we've had up to this stage, isn't it? Obviously, this not going to be able to qualify for the next stage of the Bob Willis Trophy, but you must have enjoyed the last month or so actually playing some games.
Yeah, it's been a strange run really when it first came about. We might have thought a little bit of the season would be missed, and then
Here come.
we might actually not get out there.
Oh, this has come off a little leading edge. It's looped up into there, and Davis should take the catch. He does. And Danny Lamb into the attack, and with his first delivery, gets the wicket of Duploy. Just got a thick top edge up into the sky, and Davis with a catch running up from behind the stumps, and it's now 4 down. Wickets tumbling left, right, and centre. 18 for 4.
Yeah, it's a great start by lads, and probably said that the big 4 danger men have gone really. Down as much as possible. They've still got some handy players, but this is the main 4 have gone now.
Yeah, 18 for 4 at the start of the 6th over, with Daniel Lamb coming into the attack. We've seen so far 1 over from Hartley, a couple from Wood, a couple from Bailey, and now Lamb coming into to the attack from the river end. We're having to do a bit of jiggery-pokery here because I think we're having to sanitise another set of headphones because it's all part of the fun of broadcasting from a tent, you see, Stephen.
Yeah, I think everyone's had to adapt, not just on the field, off the field. Yeah, see coaches wiping balls and mitts, so we're used to it. It actually seems strange people hugging now on TV when you see old things around.
Lamb balls, it's chopped away into the offside. There's plenty of red Lancashire shirts there in the offside. One of them's Tom Hartley, he fields, and there is no run. 18 for 4. We're in the 6th, the final over of the power play. Matt Critchley out in the middle, and Axew, the new batsman, to join him at the non-strikers. Then we've got Stephen Croft with us here in the media marquee. As Critchley just guides this one down backward of point where Rob Jones fields. And there is no run. Score remains on 18 for 4. Does it feel a little strange not playing a T20 match at Old Trafford at the minute? I mean, obviously there's a couple scheduled for the week after next, but first home game of the season in inverted commas, and you're at Liverpool. A bit bizarre.
Yeah, but it's probably used to it this season.
Well,
it's
true,
I don't think many of us have been in the ground since March, so it's foreign territory as it is really, not to even get in the changing rooms and your locker. But lads have adapted well, and yeah, it's a place we're quite familiar with Liverpool for most of us.
You've not been in OT since March?
No, since we got told to clean the lockers out, and we've not been back in really.
Strange old time, isn't it? Be good to see it the week after next. He's Lamb in, balls to Critchley, shuffling half forward and punching it back down the pitch. But, no run, dot ball, 18 for 4.
Yeah, the lads have adapted really well. We've had a good base leading into the season at Chester. They looked after us really well. But yeah, the lads have adapted from obviously having all the comforts we do usually have at Old Trafford. It's a great facility, but not to have it is...
Well, Thrashed by Critchley as Lamb completes his first over, and through to Davis, no run, end of the 6. So through the power play, 18 for 4 after 6. Critchley on 0, Hughes on 0. Wickets of Rees for 4, Godalman for 8, Madsen for 1 and Duploy for 4.
But yeah, it almost takes you back when you first started playing, getting dressed in a tent or not having those brilliant facilities. And yeah, we'll obviously, when we get back there, I don't think we'll take it for granted, and it's obviously an awesome facility that luckily we get to use most of the time.
Wicket maiden for Daniel Lamb. They use these youngsters make it look easy, don't they?
Yeah. It's been, like I say, it's been a great opportunity for the likes of Daniel Lamb to know he's going to be playing, and Tom Hartley, a great sort of learning season for him really, as Pazza comes into the attack, who obviously be in his ear helping him, and probably no better person than Pazza to learn off for a T20 spinner as well.
So yeah, this feels a bit more familiar, seeing Stephen Parry bowling. I feel like it's a little bit more natural now, a bit more normal.
He just goes well in that kit, doesn't he? And when he's in the changing room, he's great to have around. He never shuts up, and so I think the coach would be nice to have him out there and out of their ears, to be fair.
Well, it's his first game of the season for Stephen Parry. One of 3 spinners that Lancashire have named, with Hartley and Parkinson playing as well. But here's Parry to Hughes, drilled through the offside for a run. He's off the mark, Alex Hughes, with that. We're starting the 7th over, so through the power play at 19 for 4 at the start of the 7th. Certainly a reflection of how well they regard Tom Hartley, that he's got the nod for the first few T20 games. Into Critchley, tall man Critchley, and pushing it back towards Parry, no run.
Yeah, it's a department we've been very good in. Obviously Stephen Parry playing his first game, it speaks volumes, and obviously Matt Parkinson, we've got Jack Morley as well, another young left arm spinner that we haven't seen yet.
Parry into Critchley again off the front foot, easing the ball through the offside for a single. Squad moves on to 20 for 4. There's a decent tradition of left arm spinners over the course of the last few years at Lancashire.
Yeah, and you see Pazza as well. Obviously there's Mr. Keedy before him, who learnt a great deal off as well.
He's going right back, just chopping the ball into the onside. Bailey comes stomping up from mid-wicket. Extra run added to the total, 21 for 4.
Yeah, and it's great to see Mr. Kerrigan back as well at Northants, having an opportunity. We all know he's still got the talent there, and hopefully he's going to play this weekend and a lot more in the future for Northants as well.
Yeah, it's good to see that, wasn't it? Simon back involved in cricket with Northants. Critchley's on strike, the keeper standing up. Parry coming left arm around the wicket to Critchley, just guides the ball square of the wicket out towards point for a single. 22 for 4. We're in the 7th. For a batting team at the minute, Stephen, when you've lost 4 and you're just out the power play and you've got 22 on the board, as Parry comes in to Hughes, who goes right back and works the ball through mid-wicket again, barely coming up to field. Wants a second, but Critchley says no. Score on to 22 for 4 at the end of the over. 23 for 4, correction, at the end of the over. So yeah, I mean, from a batting point of view, and I appreciate it's T20 cricket and you've not got too much time to rebuild, but they're going to have to try and find some kind of rebuilding here.
Yeah, so I think they'll be quite happy with that over, and Pazza probably won't be really. I know you only got 6 singles from it, but you'd like to squeeze in a dot or 2. So yeah, it's a good opportunity for us to Lancs now to try and get even more of a squeeze on, as this period almost can get labelled as a knock-in period, but you don't want them to get easy singles every ball, so we might see another extra one of the sweepers in the ring to try and stop that easy single really, and try and make them take a high risk really to even get a single. So I think Pazza obviously it's his first over of the comp, but he probably would have minded squeezing a dot in there, and I'm pretty sure Tom's mentality about that, try and squeeze a couple of dots in with the singles.
Yeah, left arm spin from both ends, Hartley bowling, and it's pushed away into the offside by Hughes, but for no run. Then Villas, the skipper at short cover fields, lobs the ball back to Hartley, who's a tall lad, isn't he, Tom Hartley? He comes bouncing in and Balls again, right back goes Hughes, works it through the onside. He's gone through the first quickly, wants a second, but again, Lancashire quick across the ground to deny that possibility of a second.
Yeah, so Tom's great start there, that dot ball off the first, so it puts the batter under a little bit more pressure. Like I say, if you can get squeeze another single in, that'll be ideal for Lancs. If they're only getting that 3 or 4 off the over, it puts even more pressure on and hopefully some rash shots to come.
Change to the field with Lancashire swapping Lamb and Parkinson round from Parkinson at short fine leg, Lamb at short third man. Around the wicket, just dropped away into the onside. Throw comes in. Ooh, direct hit, could have been tight. The dive was from Hughes trying to get himself in. But, pick up and throw. Direct hit could have been a little tight. We've seen 1 run out so far. Lewis Rees run out by Luke Wood for 4. 25 for 4 in the 8th here at Egbert, the 8th over of this T20 fixture. And of Tom Hartley from the River End bowls. Snapped away through the offside. But just for a single, Bailey comes up to field. Score moves on to 26 for 4. Brings Critchley back on strike. After getting through his overs pretty quickly into his second here. Into Critchley, who sweeps. Worth 1 run for him. Brings Hughes back on strike. Ball swept down to backward square leg. Scoreboard ticks along to 27 for 4. Trying to get used to the pace of the scoreboard at this outground. It's pretty sharp. I think Matt's operating the scoreboard today, and he's quick. He's quick on the buttons. 27 for 4 in the 8th. Hartley in again, balls. And Hughes goes back, works the ball off his pads down to backward square leg and jogs through for a single. And that is the end of the over. Hartley's second, 8 gone, 28 for 4. Hughes has 5, Critchley has 5. We're going to attempt to bring Dave Fletcher from BBC Radio Derby into the commentary to join you for a little while. But in a socially distanced world, this could be tricky. Yeah, I could do that, yeah. Yeah, let's do that. You hand your headphones to Stephen. Stephen to Dave. We'll clean them, sanitize them, and then Dave can take, and Stephen can take mine. It's all very complicated, but you've got to do these things properly. And it's great to have Stephen with us for a little while as well. We want to make sure everything's done properly. We've had 8 overs, 28 for 4. With Hughes on 6 and Critchley on 4. The wickets of Rees for 4, Godleman for 8, Madsen for 1 and Deploy for 4. Here's Dave Fletcher, and then we'll bring Stephen Croft in to join him.
Thanks, Scott. This is not the swapping of headphones, just Derbyshire's performance. Absolutely shambolic. 28 for 4 as a new over begins, and they're going to get some runs here as it's worked down towards third man. And on this occasion, they pick up another single to move to 29 for 4. A lot of rebuilding work required here by Matt Critchley and Alex Hughes. And Hughes hasn't had an awful lot of cricket this season. Critchley takes a couple of steps down the track and pushes it back towards the bowler. Every time, Stephen, Dave Fletcher, by the way, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I did see you before driving your car down the bottom, and I thought, I'm sure I recognise him. And then now it finally twigged. Yeah, great start for Lancashire. Of course, I work for Radio Derby, so...
Yeah, it's a brilliant start, and I think I said earlier, the reason why we bowled first, we wasn't sure what the pitch was going to do 100%. We played a lot of 4-day cricket here, but great start, and obviously great to see what the pitch is doing, but I think from a Lancashire point of view, you've got to try and be ruthless here. And
a lot depends on this man, Matt Critchley, who punches this next delivery off the back foot up towards long on for a single. Danny Lamb is the bowler, moves up to 30 for 4. Josh Bohannon, who was everywhere on Monday. Every time I looked up, Josh Bohannon was fielding the ball. Well, he's right in front of us now, clapping his hands. I hope he realises there's an effects microphone.
He does get around a bit. He's one of the fittest lads, so we send him all around the field.
He was going mid-wicket to mid-wicket on Monday night at one point. Lammy's in again, and Hughes drives. Didn't really time that. Bit of a full delivery that he managed to force out into the offside for another single. 32, or is it 31? It's already on, look at that. 31 for 4. It's the first time I've seen senior professional cricket played here. I came here a few years ago, probably about 6, 7, 8 years ago now with my lad when he was playing in a club match. I love it here. It's a really nice ground, and really nice ground as Lamb bowls, and that one is punch driven down the ground. I think they're going to be restricted to 1 though. Yes, they are, as the ball is picked up by Rob Jones coming around from long on, and he hurls it back in. 32 for 4.
Yeah, we've had some great memories here, mainly more 4-day games. I think it's our third T20 here. But yeah, obviously when the crowds are in, it's a brilliant atmosphere. It's quite a big ground for a club ground, yes. And when you do get the spectators in a couple of rows of seats, it is a brilliant atmosphere.
This next delivery is a cutaway driven square on the offside for a single, I think. Yeah, just a single. Fielder is round quickly over there on the far side. He's miles away though, so I have no idea who it is. Who's that all the way in the distance?
I think it's Mr. Wood.
Okay.
Left arm throw, yeah.
That's the right. Yes. Well, I was hoping that might have given me a clue, but it didn't. And he's relatively short, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Shortish for a quick bowler.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, and I was surprised when he joined out how quite short he is, but he gets through the crease and he's skiddy. And like I said, for Derbyshire, there's a big partnership with these two now. I think we saw how well Critch can hit the ball the other night, and Alex is still a handy batsman as well. But I think this next partnership is a big one for both teams, really.
Yeah, no question about it. Still to come, Matty McKeon and Harry Hussain, Anuj Dal, Ed Barnes and Sam Connors. I'm not sure who'll win the fight between Barnes and Connors to come out last, but it'll be a close contest, I would have thought. There's a new over against Stephen Parry.
Yep.
This one is played into the onside by Alex Hughes, and there's no run. You have to. This is the ultimate nightmare. Not having, not being head on means you can't see any numbers. It's an absolute disaster for a commentator like me. This one is played nicely by Hughes. Square on the onside for a single. A lot of singles at the moment. In fact, every single run these two have scored so far in this partnership, and they came together when it was 18 for 4. They're up to 34 for 4 now. Has come in singles. They haven't managed to hit the boundary, either of them, yet. As Parry bowls and Crixley defends it straight back to him. Again, a dot ball. Big game for Lancashire. Good start in the. I know there's been the rain about, but a good start nonetheless by Lancashire in the group stages, as Parry bowls and Critchley pushes it out into the offside where Keaton Jennings does the fielding.
Yeah, we've had a great start, something really happy with, and a lot of new faces in this format as well, and a lot of people, just like Tom Bailey's in front of us, is stood up and leading the attack from not playing for 3 years.
Next delivery from Parry is pushed into the leg side by Matt Critchley, and there's no run.
He has got big ears, Tommy. He can actually hear me, but yeah, he's done
very impressive.
He's done brilliantly well to not play for 3 years, to almost look like a seasoned T20 bowler, and seeing the likes of Tom Hartley come in and do a job as well, and Danny Lamb getting a good opportunity with the ball too.
Parry bowls pushed out into the offside again, where it's fielded by Dane Villas this time, and it's the end of the over. 34 for 4 at the halfway stage. 1 run off that over from Stephen Parry. We saw a wicket maiden earlier on. I'm pretty sure there's only been about half a dozen maidens in Derbyshire's T20 history. I'm not sure if I've seen a wicket maiden, but that's a terrific effort to bowl a wicket maiden in T20. And it was the last over of the power play as well.
Oh yeah, I don't think you'd see many of them in a power play.
It's astonishing. It just shows how disappointing Derbyshire have been as Tom Hartley returns. He's going to be bowling from the pavilion end, the green and white painted pavilion, away to our left hand side. Just to the left of that, as we look, Lancashire, to the right of it, Derbyshire. And Hartley's in, turned by Hughes into the leg side. They think about 2, but they don't want to ruin their unblemished record of singles, so they decide 1 will do. We haven't seen Matt Parkinson yet. He's just wheeling his arms around. Death by spin here for Derbyshire, although Tom Bailey took 2 of the wickets to fall, and one of them was a run out. It's Hartley bowls, and this one is pushed by Critchley out into the offside. Looks like Keaton Jennings' hair sticking out the back of his cap there. He's got a lockdown hairstyle, hasn't he?
He definitely has. I don't think he knows the barber's actually open.
Hughes goes for the big sweep, and in fact Critchley goes for the big sweep, and he's out, leg before wicket, and Hartley picks up one now. Critchley's gone, leg before wicket, and Derbyshire slipped to 35 for 5. We're going to be home early.
I think it got to that point that they probably felt like they were in, and to be fair, something had to give really. I don't think they could have done another 10 overs of just singles, so I think otherwise we're chasing too many, so I think he probably thought he was in there and gone across a straight run from Tom.
35 for 5. It's 21 deliveries for his 6, Matt Critchley, which is very un-Matt Critchley-like, in all honesty. I mean, of all the middle-order batsmen that Derbyshire have at the moment, he's probably the one with the most strokes. In fact, he's almost becoming now a batsman who bowls leg spin rather than a leg spinner who bats a bit. Such as his importance, he's coming in 5 in all forms of cricket. So that suggests that they trust him as a batsman.
Yeah, I think when he first started, he was the other way around with a sort of leggy who batted a bit. But yeah, a great talent. We saw the other night how well he can hit a ball, and I think probably from an ideal scenario, he was in quite early there, to be honest. And obviously you'd like your top order to get a few more runs before he comes in, but great from a Lancashire point of view.
I'm just vaguely insulted that Scott's just shown me Lancashire's lowest total in T20 cricket against like Derbyshire's lowest T20 total against Lancashire. They're a long way off it at the moment at 35 for 5, I can tell you that much. As Hartley's in again and bowls, and this one is pushed out into the offside. Anuj Dal is the new batsman, and I'm pretty certain that Anuj Dal hasn't batted with the thick end of 9 overs to go in a T20 match before. His team in desperate trouble here, and he just guides this one back to the square on the offside. Parkinson does the fielding. Hughes had set off for a potential single and was turned back. So relatively inexperienced Anuj Dal. Good cricketer though. Fine fielder. How good is he with the bat? We'll soon find out as he drives this one without any kind of timing into the offside up to mid-off, and it's the end of the over, and just one run from that and a wicket. 35 for 1 after 35 for 5, I beg your pardon, after 11, and Lancashire will be delighted as Parkinson prepares to bowl his first over.
Yeah, probably the person you don't want to come on when you're 35 for 5, really. One of the country's best leg spinners, and it's surprising if you'd say they're 5 down that you'd think Mr. Parkins have a few wickets, but yeah, great start by the lads, especially in that power play. I wouldn't say almost killed the innings, but it was a great start, and it's almost hard to come back from that. And we saw Critch is one of those who probably ideally had to come in with a foundation, but he had to almost set it and get the middle overs and get the runs, which is a tall ask.
Yep, it's down to Alex Hughes and Anuj Dal now. Matty McKeon and Harvey Hussain, the only 2 real recognised-ish batsmen, as the quick single is taken there by Alex Hughes, gets himself very cleverly off strike, races down to the non-striker's end and says to Anuj Dal, look, there's only 5 to go, mate, you just cope with Parkinson. I'll sit here and lean on my bat. Commentating, this is only the 3rd game that's actually started. The one on Monday night was an exciting game in the end, wasn't it? It was probably closer than most people would have imagined, as Parkinson bowls. Down the track comes Dahl and clips it up towards long on for a single. 38 for 5, but the game 24 hours earlier against Yorkshire was as disastrous with the ball as this has been with the bat. Yorkshire getting 220. So despite getting the finals day last year, Derbyshire certainly haven't reproduced that kind of form in the competition this season. As Hughes turns it just neatly into the leg side for another single. Dahl will run singles all day long, and he'll run them very quickly.
Yeah, it's a very exciting game on Monday.
Decent, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think both teams could have tightened up in slight areas, but I think that's the nature of this year, really, with a few senior players missing and overseas players from both sides. That sort of end quality, but I think overall, that was a good game of cricket, and the Blast has been a good spectacle, really. It's been, with no crowds in as well, as everyone's done really well.
Parkinson bowled, it's chopped into the offside by Hughes, and there's no runners. Jennings does the fielding. It's weird, isn't it? I really noticed in the game against Yorkshire at Headingley that for the first time there were no crowds, because at T20 it's all raucous and everybody's having a great time. Parkinson bowls and it's defended by Dahl.
Yeah, especially a ground like Headingley as well, where you get all the seats, where here is an outground, there isn't other thousands of empty seats, so it's not as obvious. But yeah, it definitely had that feel.
That's weird.
At Headingley.
Very strange. Dahl takes a couple of steps down the track and flicks it away into the leg side. They've run the first one quickly, but they'll have to settle for the single.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I prefer the empty seats or the seats filled by Yorkshiremen having a few words with you.
Yeah,
but,
I always think empty seats in Yorkshire are all right, aren't they? There's nothing wrong with an empty seat at Headingley. In fact, Dominic Cork made the point after the game against Yorkshire, saying that having been beaten 99 runs in the end, the margin of victory, he said it was probably just as well there was nobody there, because whoever would have been fielding in front of the Western Stand would have been copping it. No question about it. They'd have taken plenty.
Yeah, it was a tough place to feel that. I got sent out there when I was a youngster, and then days when I did captain, I tend to feel on the other side.
Well, you've got to use if there's no point in having influence if you can't use it, is there? Tom Hartley to bowl his fourth and final over from the pavilion end, bowls to Dahl, who clips it into the leg side, and they'll pick up another single. I'm not suggesting you've ever been in this kind of position, I'm sure you haven't, but 40 for 5 with 8 overs to go. What do you think of, as a batsman out there, what on earth are they thinking? Are they thinking, well, this is gone? Because you can't really think like that, can you?
No, I think the game has sort of evolved, really. I think there was that time years ago where you think you've got to rebuild, which you do slightly, but I think to rebuild to get a score of 8 is still not going to be enough. No. So I think you just got to be brave all the way through. If you lose a few wickets, you still, in my opinion, have to have that fearless mindset to try and get a total, because if you get anything under 100, it's a very small total, really. So you still have to try and get that tricky 120, and hopefully you bowl out of your skin, really. So yeah, trying to get in there and be fearless, and even when it's hard to, is probably the hardest thing to do, really, because if you hit one in the air, you think, well, that wasn't very good.
No, 120 seems an awful long way away. They've hit a couple of singles off the first 2 balls of this Tom Hartley over. They're not really going to get them very far, singles from here on in, but there's isn't another one. And Dahl had set off for the single. Fortunately, he managed to get round in time, and it was to the right of Hartley, so he had to turn a full 180 before he could throw the ball, and in the end missed the stumps. But just another moment of anxiety for the Derbyshire batsman. Hughes waits and carves this straight to the man at backward point. So even the balls that they hit reasonably hard aren't going anywhere at the moment. And you're right, Stephen, 80's not going to be anywhere near enough. I'm not sure that 120 is, in all honesty, but this one off the back foot, pushed into the onside. Hartley races out to do the fielding, does do the fielding, and it's the end of another over. So that means that we've now had 14 now? We've had 13 now. And Derbyshire are 43 for 5. Just 4 runs off that over as well. They haven't had the most expensive over was Luke Wood's first, and that went for 7. And since then, they haven't had an over that went for more than 5. We've had a couple of 3-1s and a wicket maiden. It's been disappointing, I believe, is how the sportsman would tell you.
I think the bowlers wouldn't see it that way.
No, absolutely not. Well, I'm trying not to be one-eyed, but it's very difficult at the moment to pick any positives out of the performance of the team that I cover on a daily basis. But no, it's been terrific from Lancashire.
You think, look at the games at Edgbaston the last few days as well. The shortest boundary and a good wicket, and almost sort of 7 and over, 8 and over all the way through seems quite see the trend and a par score.
Dot ball to begin Matt Parkinson's second over from the I assume that's the river end. Certainly the Mersey is just a few hundred yards to our right. Parkinson's in again. The reverse sweep comes out from Alex Hughes. Are they going to get 2? They are, you know. They're going to get 2, everybody. That's the first time they haven't had a single since the 3rd wicket fell in the 5th over. It's only 2, but it's a start. They played on that pitch at Edgbaston yesterday. They were same as the hybrid pitch, wasn't it? Which has got the sort of synthetic material woven into it, a bit like the modern football pitches.
Yeah, so I think they had 3 games on it, and when we played at Headingley was same. We had the hybrid pitch there, and they do tend to last a bit longer as well.
Parkinson bowls down the track comes Hughes, and he lofts this one rather gently up towards long on, nowhere near long on, who comes in off the boundary to do the fielding, Rob Jones, but they go through for another single. I suppose if you can, the ideal would be for club cricketers to have, or cricket clubs to have those kind of pitches, because then they could sort of use them a bit more often, couldn't they?
Yeah, we've got a few nets at Old Trafford, and they're great for obviously to bring back and to get more use out of them. And yeah, they look a little strange at first, but they take a couple of balls to get used to. It's usually a bit more tennis bally bounce, really. But yeah, they've been great for our nets, and I think we played on a couple of games last year out in the middle as well. So I think we'll see a lot more clubs do it, and just to stay out in the middle more, really.
Better than those carpets that every club seemed to put down at one point, which just ended up getting covered in moss. A single pushed up to mid-off, previous delivery from Parkinson. This one is launched into the leg side. Is he going to be safe? He is going to be safe, and remarkably for a shot that was hit with some aggression, and for the first time in a good while, Alex Hughes picks up just 1 for that, and Derbyshire move on to 48 for 5. The one thing that you notice is that it won't be that good for the spinners, I wouldn't imagine, because there'll be no footmarks at all. There are hardly any other after 3 games.
Yeah, it's quite strange, and when we played him in the match, it hasn't really turned it a great deal. Just get that.
Oh, both batsmen at the same end. There's going to be another run out here, and Anuj Dal has gone. Alex Hughes stood his ground. The ball was hit back by Dal towards Parkinson. It ricocheted off him to the fielder at mid on, and he just had the simplest of tasks of throwing it to Alex Davis, and Anuj Dal goes run out. Derbyshire lose their 6th wicket. They're 48 for 6 now.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it hit Matty or the non-striker there. Matty, he's not the greatest off his own bowling. I was surprised if he got a hand on it. It might have been his foot, but you never know.
Well, my eyes are shocking, and we're square on, so that's my excuse for getting every bit of that wrong. But it was a disaster from a batting point of view as far as Derbyshire are concerned, because they've now had a couple of run-outs. First one, direct hit from Luke Wood. That one with both batsmen at the same end.
It might have hit him. Maybe that's why he stood his ground, because he thought he might have been sneaking a run if it hit the batter. But still, it was a unfortunate confusion.
Yes, not great from Derbyshire, who can start thinking ahead to the game on Sunday that starts here, the 4-day game, and we can actually talk about Derbyshire being near the top of the table rather than at the bottom in the 4-day competition. We'll all be nervous, we'll all be working things out, trying to work out how Worcestershire are doing, how are Essex doing, what's happening between. Worcestershire are playing Somerset, aren't they?
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting finish, and it's going to be harsh from one team that finishes at the top, who unfortunately won't qualify.
A new over from Stephen Parry from the pavilion end, and they're going to come back for 2. The new batsman, incidentally, is Matty McKiernan, came into the non-strikers end because it was the end of the over. And Derbyshire, the 50 is up, everybody. And they can't. No applause. I'm not surprised. But that was a 2. Another 2. Oh, the innings is starting to build now. And it's pulled quite hard into the leg side by Hughes, and he picks up another single. 51 for 6. At least I've always got something new to tell the good folk of Radio Derby when I do my half-hourly updates. You can have these games where nothing's really happened. I think they'll have switched off anyway by now, the Derbyshire supporters. Get yourselves ready for a big night out, Friday night. Burton fans getting ready for their opener tonight, and Derby County tomorrow afternoon. Parry is in, bowls. Oh, and that one, well, McKiernan gives the impression that it kept low. I'm not sure that it did. He started to go forward, went back, and then just basically stuck his bat in the way of it in a desperate attempt not to get out. Brief innings from McKiernan on Monday, as he faces this next delivery from Parry, and he forces it out into the offside for a single. He's off the mark. 52 for 6. Came out as a pinch hitter on Monday. Never seen that from Matty McKiernan before. Hit the first ball for 6 and the second one straight up in the air. So came into this game with a strike rate of 200. As Parry bowls, this one is clipped into the leg side, backward of square by Hughes for another single. 53 for 6. They're edging closer to the number 81. That was the number that Scott was showing me before. You'll have played in that one, I bet.
I'd have thought so, yeah.
Yeah, I'd have thought so.
Yeah, I've not missed many over the years.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll have played in that one. 55 for 6 now as McKiernan pushes this one up towards mid-wicket, where Josh Bohannon, who I've hardly mentioned in the field today, does the fielding. It's the end of the over. Blimey, they're racing past. I'm going to have to call Scott back in because I've got to go and do something for Radio Derby in a minute. I'm not sure how we're going to do this. So whatever Scott does, we'll just go along with. I think that's probably the safest thing. 6 off that last over, 54 for 6 after 15. So 5 overs to go. And if they get past 75, I'll eat this laptop. Oh, listen to that. That's all very, very, very efficient. I like it. No, you keep those on. Yeah. No.
Are you staying for one more over, Stephen?
Yeah, I got nothing else to do, to be honest.
Have you not?
No.
Okay.
No. As soon as I weren't playing today, I moved the lads' cars over out of Cow Corner, but we haven't had to have that problem yet, to be honest.
I'm not quite sure I've seen a T20 match like it.
No, you think usually you lose a first. If you lose a few, you expect a partnership somewhere down the line, but there's been none as of yet. There's still time, but
there is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, to still have overs up his sleeve from Parkinson and Parry is what you want from Lank's point of view.
Parkinson bowling swept. It swept well, actually. He'll get 4. Is that the second boundary? The second boundary. Hughes sweeping nicely for 4 behind square on the leg side. That target, or that figure that certainly Derbyshire supporters will have in mind, is trying to at least get beyond 81, which is their lowest total against Lancashire. Now 59 for 6, and the ball's in the shrubs. It's disappeared in amongst the long grass, but below the trees.
Well, Woody won't want to get his hands dirty. He'll send someone in there. Oh, he's got it.
It's another element to cricket restarting. You're having to go into the stands and fetch your own cricket balls, aren't you?
Yeah. It's like back in the day, usually running miles down the field. But yeah, it's an incentive to bowl well. Really, should send the bowlers themselves to get it.
I think Kate Cross suggested something similar up at Durham for the opening T20 match. It should be like a punishment for the bowler. Go and fetch it yourself.
A good job they got that stand at Durham. It is very open.
This is swept again, or attempted to sweep, as Parkinson bowls to Hughes. Thuds into the pad. Davies comes from behind the stumps to field. No runs, so 59 for 6 in this T20 fixture, which has been a bit of a mess, really, from Derbyshire's point of view. Trying to scramble together some kind of score. More runs here. Behind, 4 more of them actually, out towards the square leg boundary. Another boundary, another sweep from Hughes, and a pretty enthusiastic attempt to cut the ball off by Luke Wood, but a couple of boundaries in the over. Derbyshire getting going. So the previous boundary was the first ball of the second over, and we're now into the 16th for the second one. Tough afternoon for Derbyshire so far. Swept again by Hughes. This time it will be cut off by Luke Wood at deep backward square leg. Hughes moves up to 32. The score moves on to 64 for 6 here at Egbert or at Liverpool Cricket Club. This T20 blast fixture between Lancashire Lightning and the Derbyshire Falcons. Matt Parkinson bowling. And that's played into the offside. An attempt by Keaton Jennings to catch it one-handed to his left, and we have seen some spectacular catches so far in the competition, particularly at Leicestershire the other day. Jennings got a fingertip to it, but couldn't keep it. End of the over. It's a 64 for 6, 16 gone. I heard you chatting to Fletch there as to what you do as a batting side. I suppose these two have just got to try and get whatever they can, just try and muster something on the board.
Yeah, and I think as a batter, I was saying, you've got to be brave really, because just look for singles. I think, yeah, a total around 80 is not going to be enough really, and with Derbyshire having two spinners, two leg spinners, I think you need something to bowl at. So I think trying to be brave and maybe get obviously looking a long way away now, a 120 or something like that. It's obviously going to be something competitive, but it's a tough situation to bat really, because if you take one up in the air, it's one of them. What you're doing, you had a little bit of time left, but yeah, a score around 80 you think could be knocked off very easily.
Here is Parry for Lancashire balls. Attempt to reverse sweep, and he's gone. Alex Hughes, he's been trapped LBW. He's gone for 32 and becomes a victim for Stephen Parry in his fourth and final over at the first ball of it. Parry traps Hughes LBW, and now Derbyshire Falcons are 7 down. I'm afraid for the Falcons supporters listening, it's a rather bleak looking scorecard. It's one that will bring a smile to the face of Lancashire supporters. 64 for 7 in the 17th. You don't often see games like this in T20 cricket, do you, Stephen? I mean, this is a real kind of freak situation at the minute.
It is, yeah. I'm just looking at the scorecard now, where Parky is going at 6.3 and Woody at 5. You'd usually take that, but today they look very expensive. But yeah, it does seem a bit of a slow wicket, and the lads started really well. We spoke about that today. A ground we haven't been to for quite a while, especially T20. We've got to start well and set the tone, and it's come from there really. So the bowlers that have come in afterwards, Danny Lamb and Bales, and Pazza as well, they've just continued with that, and every credit to them. They've bowled really well and not given the Derbyshire batsmen anything.
Like I should know that a victory here would take them 2 points clear at the top, at least for a few hours, with Notts Outlaws playing a little later on, but would move them on to 8 points, and in this kind of congested or shortened competition, decent number of points on the board even at the halfway stage of that, when group games, there's 10 of them. There is Parry bowling, that's punched down the ground, and the run on the board for the Derbyshire Falcons. 65 for 7. Harvey Hussain is the new batsman. Brings Matty McKiernan back on strike. Parry for Lancashire. Little skip as we've seen for so many years now, as he comes in and bowls, and McKiernan going back and clipping the ball along the ground through mid-wicket where Bohannon fields. Throws in on the bounce, or gathered by Alex Davis.
Yeah, Paz are really pleased there. His first game, first opportunity really, and to get his first wicket will probably calm his nerves, even though he's 34 now. It's nice to open your account.
Pushed along through mid-off by Hussain for a single. Still got a few nerves, even with your experience, Stephen?
I think, for me personally, not necessarily when I'm on the field. It's sort of the time when you're off it. Really, you just want to get back out there, and sort of once I'm on the field, it's fine really, because you're sort of in control. It's when you're sort of waiting for a game or things like that, where you try to tend to stay a bit busy really. But yeah, once you get on the field, I suppose I've done it quite a few times now. You're fine once I get out there. It's to say, like waiting to bat as well. I stride around a bit. Don't like sitting down. I want to get out there. But yeah, once you get out there, it's usually okay.
They're saying uses his feet and comes down the pitch, whips the ball through the onside, and extra run added to the total. That's the end of the over. I think Parry's done. He's bowled his 4 overs, and we've had 17 of the Derbyshire Falcons innings. 17 overs gone. 69 for 7. Rees for 4, Godalman for 8, Madsen for 1, Duploy for 4, Critchley for 6, Hughes for 32, and Dahl run out by Villas for 5. Leaves Matty McKiernan and Harvey Hussain currently batting for the Derbyshire Falcons. Stephen Croft alongside me. Going to squeeze one more over out of you, Stephen, and then
yeah, not a problem.
Have a little break.
It's usually what the captain says. Is that squeeze one in somewhere and try and get away with it?
Yeah. We're going to at some point come on to bowling with the cap on. which I've got to say has been a highlight. As Parkinson is in, whipped away through the onside, through mid-on by Hussain. Rob Jones comes up to field. Hussain moves up to 4. Score moves on to 70 for 7. I'm liking it, Stephen. Big fan of it.
Yeah, there's been a few that haven't. I've been surprised, but to be fair, it was an accident that started up at Durham, really. Let's tell you after this ball.
Parkinson bowling. McKiernan looking to sweep. Parkinson asking if that's out. The umpire says no.
So yeah, it was obviously the first game of the season up at Durham. I'd set the field, forgot my cap on, and put it on the stumps for the umpire, and then he realised that they're not allowed to hold them, so I went to give it to a teammate, and they're not allowed to hold them either. So
this is swept by McKiernan, slog swept through the onside. It's gone high, and it's gone for 6 for Matty McKiernan. Takes him into double figures. Moves the Falcons on to 76 for 7.
So yeah, I just thought I'll have to put it back on. I'm not running 100 metres there and back.
I don't blame you.
to throw my cap off, and yeah, and then my hair's not as bad as Keats at the minute, but it is too long, so it almost acted as a headband as well. And I bowl well, so it's almost a bit of superstition that I just kept it on then.
McKiernan sweeping Parkinson's next delivery, picked up by Luke Wood at deep backward square leg. The score moves on to 77 for 7.
And I like to think he knocked a year or two off.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, well, a few months maybe.
Yeah.
Parkinson to Hussain, skips down the pitch, drills the ball through mid-on, and Rob Jones comes up from the boundary to field. 78 for 7. So you weren't tempted to have it pointing forward, obviously. You were quite keen to spin it round the back then, were you? That was always, or was that just instinctive at the time?
So I just couldn't see it and just get it out of the way. Didn't want to knock it off and ball another wide.
Parkinson to Critchley. It comes off the inner edge of the bat and they scamper through for a quick single. Parry underarm with a throw towards the stumps. Hits as well, Parry, but they're through for 1. End of the over. 2 remaining, 79 for 7. We'll bring Dave Fletcher back in. We'll come back to that in the second, because I've got a lot more to get out of you with regards to the cap. And I also want to speak to you about Keaton Jennings' hair as well. I think it's a work of art. I think it's magnificent.
I said earlier, I don't know if he knows that the barbers are open now, but he's totally committed to it. He's not had it trimmed, and I'm surprised his hat and his helmet fit on, to be fair, because if he took it off, he grows by another foot. So it is amazing.
Why would you want to cut such a beautiful mop of hair? Stephen, thank you. We'll bring Dave in for the final couple of overs. Stephen, if you're knocking around and fancy coming back in the second innings, then feel free to join us. Thank you so much, Stephen Croft, with us here at Egbert as Bailey is back into the attack and bowling. That's whipped away through the onside. Up comes Bohannon from deep mid wicket to field. An extra run on the board. Dave Fletcher is back alongside me. 80 for 7.
Thanks for not mentioning my lad's text to me about Stephen Croft bowling with his cap on backwards.
He wasn't a fan, was he?
No, he said he deserved to get hit for 4 for that.
That's harsh.
He got a wicket second ball though, didn't he?
I say meets this one from Bailey and works the ball through the onside, but Hannon comes up to field, and score moves on to 81 for 7 in the 19th.
You know what that means?
Aye, that's true.
We can get rid of that nasty statistic that you flashed in front of my eyes before the 81.
There's nothing sinister about it.
No, I know.
I just thought you might like to know.
It's always useful to know that kind of thing. Oof,
Bailey
wide.
in, but down the leg side, and taken by Davis.
They'll get there in wides. This has been disastrous from Derbyshire, hasn't it? From start to finish, really.
Just saying to Stephen, you just don't see this in T20 cricket, do you? Very, very rare. I don't think I've seen a T20 match like this before.
Well, a 99-run defeat against Yorkshire, you wouldn't be at all surprised if it wasn't a 10-wicket defeat to Lancashire. That's they're 2 big defeats, aren't they?
Bailey to McKiernan. Stand there and, hit somewhere near John Lennon Airport, I think.
Yeah.
Huge swing and a miss.
More like Hank Aaron, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a rather brutal afternoon so far for Derbyshire.
But it's nice, the weather's nice, the sun's out.
Yeah.
You know, it's a beautiful setting.
Yeah.
We're having fun.
You've had some lunch.
I've had some lunch. Yeah. I managed to get on air, which was a triumph in itself.
I wasn't entirely convinced we would. Bailey to McKiernan, waiting for it, going deep into his crease and with absolutely no timing whatsoever. Just swats the ball up towards Jones, who comes up from long on. I should have said to Stephen, if you're going to come back in the second innings, you better come back at the start.
Yeah, well, if he comes back in the 10th over, I think we'll have packed up. We'll be in the car. Yeah.
Come back for a little natter in the...
You never know what the pitch is like until both teams are batted.
You're quite right. You can't judge it until both teams are batted.
Well, I'm going to stick my neck out here.
You're going to predict a Lancashire win?
I think so.
The same weights as Bailey is in. That's a bottom edge which disappears around the corner. Parry fields. I will say during the interval, if I can plug the right things in, and bearing in mind we didn't have Stephen's microphone switched on for the listeners on the stream, and I apologise for that.
That was unfortunate, wasn't it? We didn't realise that, did we?
I do apologise for those on the stream unable to hear Stephen. If you're listening on the BBC Sport website and an app, you'll have heard him fine, but apologies for that. But we've got that issue resolved as Bailey comes in and McKiernan hits his back over Bailey's head. Villas trying to cut the ball off. Oh, that's a pretty acrobatical effort from Dame Villas.
He hasn't hurt himself.
Well, I know. I mean, trying to save a couple of runs, which is a valiant effort leading from the front, Dame Villas, but maybe a little unnecessary, bearing in mind the state of the innings. But anyway, 88 for 7 with 1 over left. Just to say, those watching on the stream, I think your half-time interval will include thoughts of Graham Onions and Richard Gleeson, so I'm told.
Yeah.
Those with us on the BBC Sport website and app, or on medium wave across the northwest of England, you will also be hearing from Graham Onions as well. So whether you're on the stream or whether you're listening online, you're going to get a bit of bunny during the course of the interval. 1 over left. Here's Dave Fletcher.
Danny Lamb to bowl it from the River End here at Liverpool Cricket Club in Aigburth. Pleasant breeze, sun trying to peep through some greyish clouds, but the rain isn't going to save Derbyshire on this occasion. I think Lancashire are almost ahead of Duckworth Lewis even now, and they haven't started their innings. There's what's happening here? I think Dane Villas is just stretching, isn't it? Yeah, he is, isn't he? And I did wonder when he went for that dive whether he might have hurt himself, and it looks as though he may well have done just that. And when you consider that Derbyshire have already effectively lost this game, Lancashire pretty much already won it, the last thing you want is for somebody to pick up an injury, and the physio has come out.
He sent him off, hasn't he, Dane Villas?
He has, yeah, but he's definitely not 100% comfortable, is he?
Absolutely magnificent effort, leading from the front, and you know he throws himself around as Tom Bailey described it, as like Superman, but probably under the circumstances not necessarily needed.
No, anyways, you just heard Tom Bailey shout, Lambo's bowling. Danny Lamb, 88 for 7. Can they get to 3 figures? Harvey Hussain is on strike, and he pulls this into the leg side. McKiernan's desperate to get back and almost laps Hussain, who really has to get a wriggle on to get down to back to the strikers end, and they do go through for 2, so they've got to 90. Still no smiles from further down the gazebo from me, from the Derbyshire regulars. Can't see anybody smiling. Bodes well for the 4-day game, of course, over in a day and a half. Lamb in and a couple of steps down the track, and he tries to force it into the leg side there, Harvey said, and it dribbles off a pad into the offside. They pick up another single, this time from a leg by at 91 for 7. McKiernan on 18. Hussain has 9. McKiernan struck the only 6 of this innings. Third ball of the 17th over. Perhaps a tad late, but he's on strike now. What can he do against Lamb with 4 balls remaining of the innings? And it's a full toss that he slices away down to backward point. It might go all the way. It will go all the way. In fact, Tom Bailey, once it had gone past the hirsute Keaton Jennings, it looked as though it was always going to get to the boundary, and Tom Bailey, well, he quite correctly gave up on it, and they moved to 95 for 7 in imminent danger of getting to 3 figures. They've got 3 deliveries in which to do it. So, a couple of 2s and a single would do nicely. It just looks less embarrassing, doesn't it? As this next one is driven forcefully down towards long off, and there's a bit of a misfield there, and they think about coming for the second. They think again, because they sort of dawdled the first, unfortunately. Moved on to 96 for 7, another light aircraft. Not far from the airport here, of course, but I don't think that's going anywhere near the airport. If it is, I think it's a gate crasher. Just keep that engine on. That's all I ask. Lamy's in again and balls to Hussain, who whips this into the leg side. They're only going to get one for this as well, though. And they move to 98. So the only jeopardy that we're going to get this afternoon is on this delivery. Can Derbyshire get the 2 runs they need to get to 3 figures? That's the only jeopardy we've got. We're going to cling on to it with both hands here. 1 delivery remaining. Derbyshire 97, is it? No, that's 98 surely. No, it's 97. They need 3. This next delivery. Oh, we went for the big swing there, did Matty McKinnon? The answer to the question is no. They're not going to get up to 3 figures. They're going to finish rather embarrassingly on 98 for 7. Not even bowled out. Just couldn't get the ball off the square for much of that innings, I'm afraid. Derbyshire, Billy Godleman 8, Lewis Rees 4, Wayne Madsen 1, Deploy 4, Critchley 6, Dahl 5. 32 from Alex Hughes, who's been probably out of form more than any of the batsmen in the Derbyshire ranks this season so far. Matty McKinnon 24 not out at the end, and Harvey Hussain 10. The bowling was terrific. I think we should gloss over the batting though. That'll do for that. And let's hear from Graham Onions, I think, because the less we have to talk about this game, the better, from my perspective, Scott.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that's a pretty brutal effort from Derbyshire, but Lancashire will be utterly thrilled with how they've gone about things, obviously.
Yeah.
Wicket for Hartley, couple for Bailey, 1 for Lamb, 1 for Parry. That 32 from Alex Hughes stands out like a beacon in what is not a particularly bright-looking Derbyshire Falcons innings. 22 not out from McKinnon, correction, 24 not out from Matty McKinnon, as Dave Fletcher mentioned. So the players are making their way off. Lancashire heading in towards one little marquee, which is to the left of the pavilion as we look, and to the right is where the Derbyshire marquee is also based as well. Everyone being socially distanced and the pavilion all divided up, so everyone is kept away from each other as separately and as best they possibly can. It will be a rather quiet, I'm sure, Derbyshire section of the pavilion, and I suspect Lancashire will be a little chirpier when they disappear up towards the steps to our left-hand side. The sun is shining. In fact, it's beaming down on that red brick pavilion to our left. There's plenty of green in front of the pavilion too. The balcony, the wooden balcony which wraps around the front of the pavilion is green and white front on the roof of the building too. And the clock saying it's just approaching 10 to 4.
Via the Lancashire Cricket website, just head to lancashirecricket.co.uk/store. If you were to wear it in the sunshine of the Liverpool Cricket Club here today, yeah, you'd be seen for miles around. What an innings that was in terms of Lancashire's bowling effort against Derbyshire. Just 98 for 7 from their 20 overs. I'm joined by Lancashire bowlers past and present because of Mr. Onions' retirement today. As last time I mentioned that for the next 5 minutes. They'll be here with us for this part and indeed after the game as well. Just briefly, what do we sense of that strangely low effort by Derbyshire, but actually a strange pitch upon which they brought that 98 runs?
Yeah, a little bit, and you've got 2 bowlers here, so obviously we look at this score and we think, yeah, we like it and we like this type of pitch, but it's obviously been slow, very hard for the batters to get the ball away, knock it at the gaps. They could have certainly done that better, but also you've got to give Lancashire a lot of credit. I think the spinners bowled fantastically well. They didn't start their innings particularly well. But yeah, as I said, we've got to give ourselves a pat on the back. But the game's not done yet. We don't know. I didn't expect it to be, a pitch for less than 100. Maybe the 140 pitch might have been a better score. But I think they're well under par.
Yeah, it was hard work, wasn't it, Richard, from the very outset, as Graham said, because the opening bowling pair of after the first over, of course, from Tom Hartley, of Tom Bailey and Luke Woods, they really kind of throttled them from the very beginning.
Yeah, I think after that start, losing early wickets, it's always difficult, and they never really got any momentum going. I don't think it will be an easy chase by any stretch of the imagination. Like Graham said, it does look a tricky wicket, a little bit slow. It's maybe got a little bit damp over the last few days, but I think a couple of solid partnerships, and we should get home quite easily. I'd back our batters, especially with the form that Alex and Keaton are in at the minute, and then if a couple of lads can chip in as well, I think easily chase that down.
More analysis from Richard Gleeson and Graham Anners in just a moment. Let's remind ourselves of how Derbyshire did post that 98 for 7 in their 20 overs. So 99 to chase for Lancashire to win this one in the Vitality Blast North Group here in Liverpool, and highlights packages usually made up of lots of boundaries and lots of wickets, not so much of the former, a lot of the latter, and actually, Graham, it's very strange because after that boundary, which I think happened off Luke Wood's first ball, then there wasn't another one for about 14 overs.
It's unheard of, isn't it, really? But then once again, it's the credit that has to go towards our experienced attack, really. We put them under pressure. We bowled straight. We bowled into the pitch. We didn't. It's okay pitching the ball up. I'm talking about bowling into the pitch and still hitting the top of off stump. I think we did that really well. I would say it's the massive advantage of obviously winning the toss and almost putting the pressure onto the batters and getting them to try and see if they can get a good score. And I don't think they've got that score. I think we can chase that down.
Richard, Derbyshire have been more and more impressive as the years have progressed. In particular, the last couple of years, they reached final stage for the first time last year, partly because of their top order, but they were 18 for 4 after the power play. And on Monday, when of course it was a very close run thing, Deploy, Rees and Madsen got 112 runs between them. Today it was just 9. So if you're going to try and distill it down to one thing, it's perhaps that.
Yeah, it's a strong top 4 there, especially Madsen. He's been a key player for them over the last few years, and he's gone around the world and shown his class. So I think if you can get him cheaply, it's always a bonus. But as well, Godleman, I think he was up there in the MVP rankings last year. So if you can get those boys early, it definitely gets you on the front foot. I think second innings, they'll still have a few tricks up the sleeves. They've got some good bowlers. I think the wicket plays into the bowlers with a little bit less pace. Like Graham said, pitching the ball up but still trying to hit the wicket and letting the wicket do the work for you, taking the pace out. So I think they'll still come hard second innings.
Yeah, we heard from Dane, didn't we, before, the reason that he decided to bowl first because he wasn't quite sure what the pitch would do. Having seen what the pitch has done, how much will that help the Derbyshire bowlers, even if their batsmen haven't necessarily helped them out in that first go?
They'll know they've got a chance, and that's all you can ask for in T20 cricket. If you know you've got something to bowl at, the back end, they got a few boundaries, gave himself a little bit of a score, some good hitting. Hughes managed to build something again and hit a few boundaries. So that they'll be disappointed, but T20 cricket, you never know what can happen. So they'll go out and they'll go hard, and they've got the bowlers that will make it difficult.
Yeah, conversely, will there be any doubts, Graham, in the minds of the Lancashire batsmen, because they have just seen how tricky it is to... I appreciate that they're chasing 99 instead of trying to post 180, but still, there might be the odd doubt in their mind.
Yeah, look, I think... I wouldn't say doubt, I would just say like, maybe there's a bit of caution, but the beauty of what that we've got now is that as long as you give yourself an opportunity for later overs, so you said 18 for 4, they're on the back foot straight away. So if we're 18 for 1 in the power play, fair enough, but we've got wickets in hand that we can go and take them down later on in their innings. But as I said, and Gleeson's right there, is that the game's not over. Derby have to believe that they've got enough, which will make a good game.
Given the strong foundations that Lancashire have had in their 2 wins from the opening pair in particular, Alex Davis and Keaton Jennings, will they, I mean, they've been fairly adaptable with how things have played out already this season, but will they think we're going to change the way that we approach this?
No, I think they'll always have the mental approach of attacking. Any kind of width they'll still travel on this pitch. What we did, as I said, is that we bowled straight. If their bowlers bowl too short or too wide, they'll get punished. And I think Al Davies, the form that he's in, and obviously Keaton as well, setting them foundations early on, I think we'll win the power play, and then we'll put their bowlers under pressure. And boundaries, essentially, again from Dane earlier on, he said it's a big old playing surface because there's no fans here to push it a little bit further in. If you look to the far side behind us, it's a long, long way, so don't necessarily get frustrated if the boundaries don't come in the way that you would expect.
No, I think if you can, out of the power play, if you can run the twos hard, even if you're hitting the fielders on the boundaries, there's plenty of space out there. So I know that's something that Dane Villas does really well. He's quick between the wickets. But I think I'd like to see Alex take a bit of impetus and try and get the ball rolling early and put them Derby players on the back foot and really set us off to a flyer.
Yeah, get some twos. Find some twos in those spaces. Well, as you can see, Alex Davis and Keaton Jennings taking to the field. The Falcons are already there. So we'll rejoin our BBC commentators, Dave Fletcher and Scott Reed.
First made 181 for 4, and Chris Dent made 87. So 181 for 4 from 4 overs, 3 wickets for Ed Barnard. Gloucestershire setting Worcestershire a total of 182 to win, and they've lost 3 wickets in pursuit of that. Worcestershire 72 for 3, halfway into the 10th. 182 to win that game. So that's the other afternoon start, that game taking place in Bristol. And there's some evening games as well, 3 of them in total in the Blast. Notts Outlaws against Leicestershire Foxes, that's at 6 o'clock at Trent Bridge. Somerset against the Birmingham Bears in Taunton at 6:30, and Durham against Yorkshire Vikings at 6:30 at Chester Street. And there, of course, is the international T20 fixture taking place as well. But here we go, Lancashire's run chase as Davis comes down the pitch and slaps his ball up towards mid-off, where there is no run. Matty McKiernan bowling the first over of for Derbyshire from the river end out towards our right-hand side. The sun is trying to burn through. It won't be too cheery for Derbyshire supporters in this modest total Lancashire are chasing. Davis goes back, tries to cut the ball, but just chops the ball down into the ground, and picked up by Wayne Madsen. And there's no run. Yeah, 6 o'clock for England against Australia in the international T20 match at the Aegeus Bowling in Southampton. I think all 3 T20s are in Southampton, and the one-day international series at Emirates Old Trafford. Here is Matty McKiernan, his leg spin, slowly drifting in and bowling to Davis, who's down the pitch, hits it back over the bowler's head. There's a cry of catch. But, Davis gets through for 1, it just drops short of the man posted on the boundary. First run on the ball for Lancashire at Lightning brings Keaton Jennings on strike. I'm hoping that Stephen Croft might come back and join us for a bit, because I want to get a little bit more about what the Lancashire dressing room's view of Keaton Jennings' hairdo is, because it is a quite magnificent look that Keaton Jennings is going for. Thick, curly hair. I mean, it is wonderful. It's like a real work of art. but I believe he's had a mixed response from his teammates. Jennings on strike for the first time. Here is McKiernan. It's a very gentle approach he has. McKiernan balls to Jennings, who goes back and turns the ball into the onside. Billy Godleman comes up from mid-wicket to field, and there's no run. 2 fielders outside the circle are at deep mid-wicket, and McKiernan comes in. Again, it's absolute walking pace, really, isn't it? Jennings punches the ball down towards long on, who's the other fielder outside the circle, and who's Dahl. Jennings gets a single, he's off the mark. Score moves on to 2 without loss. Brings Davis back on strike. McKiernan spins the ball from one hand to the other. Davis clipping it off his pads out towards backward square leg, sends Jennings back. He was backing up, and has to go cartwheeling into the crease to make sure he was home there, Keaton Jennings. Would have been, I suspect, a slightly frustrated man had he been run out for 1, with Lancashire needing 99 to win. But anyway, he was back in, and that's the first over complete. So 2 without loss, 1 over gone. Target is 99 for Lancashire Lightning to win the game and to move 2 points clear at the top of the North Group. Just after 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, and a very warm welcome if you've joined the stream, the live stream via Lancashire Cricket TV, or on the BBC Sport website and app, or on the BBC Radio Lancashire medium wave frequency 855, or at Egbert Cricket Club. It's quite a breezy day. We can see the trees on the far side of the ground blowing in the wind. If you're watching on the stream, you'll have a perfect view from behind the bowler's arm. We're commentating from ground level and we're square on. We're watching Keaton Jennings tap his bat. And he works his delivery out into the onside. Sam Connors bowling from the pavilion end. And Jennings gets a single. Clipped away through square leg for 1. So he doubles his total. Lancashire move on to 3 without loss. Derbyshire Falcons in this dark blue. Lancashire all in red. Dave Fletcher's back alongside me. You've updated.
Well, you say I've updated them. The Wi-Fi let me down alarmingly there, and yeah, I think they got the gist.
Did you manage to say the score?
I just think they heard me say Derbyshire are going to lose this one.
Right. It's Connors into to Davis. Swatted out through the onside. Duploy comes round from deep square leg to mid-wicket to field. Davis gets a single. He moves to 2, and Lancashire moved to 4 without loss. Yeah,
so it wasn't great, but then again, they probably didn't want to hear anyway, in all honesty. Yes. Well, if they only go along at 2-0, but they'll be in a spot bothering Lancashire.
Could be time.
Give me a plan for the update at 4:30.
Connors to Jennings, who plays forward and pushes back towards the young Derbyshire bowler, and there is no run.
He's done well this season, Sam Connors. He's product of the Derbyshire Academy, and there are so few of those who've come through. It's only his 4th game of T20 cricket at senior level, and he has only picked up 1 wicket, but he's bowled much better than that.
Comes back into to Jennings, low full toss, which Jennings strikes back down the ground, stopped by Connors off his own bowling, no run.
The irony, of course, being that when they bowled poorly against Yorkshire and conceded 220, they were out of the game, and now they're bowling quite nicely. They're already out of the game.
Pressure's off.
Yeah, bowlers, go on, see what you can do, and fair play to them.
Aye.
So far.
Connors to Jennings, driven. He beats the gap of a couple of fielders inside the circle on the offside. Jennings comes back for 2. Billy Godleman eventually throwing the ball in. A couple for Jennings, so he's now up to 4. Lancashire 6 without loss. Well, I guess that's all Derbyshire can do, really, isn't it? Try and go out, play properly, bowl well, feel well. You know.
Yeah.
I suppose that's the message from the camp, isn't it? You try and take at least something from the way that they bowl and feel from this.
Connors will definitely play on this pitch, well, not on this pitch necessarily, but on this ground on Sunday. Not sure about McKiernan.
It's a good question about the pitch, actually. As Connors is into Jennings, it's down the leg side. It's a wide signal. I'm under the impression, and there's every chance I am wrong, but there is only one pitch that is viewed as being first-class standard.
Oh, okay.
So I think this will be I don't think there is a second pitch in here.
Yeah.
I think there's talk about putting a second pitch in, but I'm not certain it has happened.
Right.
So I suspect the one we're using is the one that we'll probably use for the
flashbacks, the batsman, then, won't they?
Connors to Jennings. Nice straight drive down towards mid-on where Lewis Rees fields. End of the over, so 2 gone, 7 without loss. Lancashire 99 is their target to win the game.
Derbyshire in front at the same stage. They were 11 without loss. I think that's probably the only time in this entire innings that I'm going to be able to say that Derbyshire are in front. So I thought I'd get it out there now, and then I'll just go back into Michelle later on and carry on with the criticism. Looks like McKiernan. Is it McKiernan going to get another over? No, it's off. Wayne Madson's going to bowl. Blimey. Wayne Madson's going to get a bowl. I hope he doesn't go over on his ankle. That's all I'm going to say at this stage, because we know that he wouldn't have played up at Chester Street on Wednesday after damaging that ankle batting. He didn't damage it batting today with his 1 from 5, which is good news, but now he's going to have a bowl. He's going to be bowling to Alex Davis at 7 without loss at the beginning of the 3rd over. They have to take 2 wickets in this over to match Lancashire. This is where it starts to get tricky for Derbyshire. As Madsen is in and bowls, that one's clipped into the leg side, fielded there by Matt Critchley at shortish mid-wicket. It's a dot ball to begin with for Madsen, who gets through his overs at an incredibly rapid rate, although not when he drops the ball as he has done there. He's ready now. Davis stands and waits, goes back into his crease and turns it up towards Critchley. It goes beyond Critchley, and then off the boundary comes Anuj Dal to do the fielding. Single taken. Autumn's here, Scott. The leaves are starting to blow from the trees behind us across the pitch, which is a bit early. But they're just starting to have to get the leaf blower out, the groundsman, before to get this outfield in pristine condition for the Bob Willis Trophy game on Sunday. 10:30 start for that one, remember. Anybody who wants to tune in, doesn't want to miss half an hour, and who would? Around the wicket comes Madsen to Keaton Jennings, who drives this very nicely. It's half stopped there by Matt Critchley, and they scramble through for a quick enough single. 8-9 without loss. Yeah, so 10:30 start, which means we'll probably get away by about 8:30. Sorry, that's my phone. That's very unprofessional.
Dave.
Good tune. What?
I feel like you've not enjoyed your trip so far tonight.
Oh no, I've loved it.
Okay.
I've loved it. It's only 30 odd miles from my house, this ground. This one is just a whisker away from Matt Critchley. It's flicked into the leg side, and they pick up another single, moving to double figures, 10 without loss. I've enjoyed every moment of this season, because at one point I didn't think we were going to have anything to enjoy. So you've got to make the most of it, haven't you?
Said that to Stephen Croft. Yeah, just how much of just playing, getting out there and playing some cricket.
Absolutely, Madsen. Ball's pushed into the offside by Keaton Jennings. Harvey is saying looked like he thought it was the last ball of the over there as he started dancing down the pitch, but he was merely returning the ball to Madsen so he can come in. And he's had quite a sharp haircut as Wayne Madsen. Keaton Jennings hasn't, and he reverse sweeps this one, but straight to the fielder, and there is no run. It's the end of the Madsen over. 10 without loss after 3. They're going to have to put their foot down at some point, Lancashire. There's 3 runs off that over. At the same stage, Derbyshire were 14 for 2.
Yes, if you are just joining the coverage, perhaps back in from work, and just logging on and getting into your car perhaps and flicking on the radio, Derbyshire 98 for 7 from 20 overs. 11 for 1, 14 for 2. And then third wicket when Madsen went with 18 runs. 4 for 18, 5 for 35, 6 down for 48. Yeah,
it doesn't get any better.
No, it's pretty tough listening or reading if you're looking at the scorecard, I'm afraid. A couple of wickets for Tom Bailey, 1 for Hartley, 1 for Lamb and 1 for Stephen Parry.
Ed Barnes,
who's running in from the pavilion end and bowling a full-length delivery on the off stump, and Davis brings his bat down, jabs the ball into the onside, fielded at mid-wicket, no run.
Spoke to Ed for the first time. All these new, well, not all these new players because there haven't been that many, but I've spoken to Mikey Cohen on Zoom, never spoken to Ben Aitchison, who sadly his season looks like it's over with the ankle ligament damage. I spoke to Ed for the first time on Wednesday night.
Barnes is in to Davis. Pulled behind square on the leg side, and that'll be 4 runs with Davis rocking back and pulling it from about waist height behind square. Takes Lancashire up to 14 without loss.
Nice young man said, yeah, it's been a disappointing start, but if we win our last 6, who knows? So I fully expect whoever I speak to say, well, if we win our last 5, who knows? 14
without loss.
There is Michael Cohen.
Barnes in too. Davis driven nicely right down the ground. Arrow straight from Davis. Glorious looking straight drive by the Lancashire batsman. Barnes trying to stop it off his own bowling, but that rattled its way towards the rope. And Davis, who's been in good form this season with the bat for Lancashire, and what has been a good opening partnership for Lancashire between Keaton Jennings and Alex Davis. Davis moves to 12, 18 without loss.
Yeah, really nice shot all the way along the floor. Barnes did what he could to stop it in his follow-through, but it was hit with some ferocity, wasn't it?
Here comes Barnes, past the umpire to Davis. Cuts the ball for 4 more, behind square on the offside. And that takes Davis on to 16, and Lancashire Lightning to 22 without loss, in pursuit of 99 to win the game.
If we listen very carefully, we'll get some secrets here, because Michael Cohen is currently speaking to Sam Connors, and he's brought a drink for him, and they're about 2.5 feet away from our effects microphone. You just hear them muttering in the background, can't quite pick it up. Quite a damaging over, this one. There was always going to be several damaging overs, you felt, though. It's not helping you see, is it?
Not really. No. Barnes to Davis, but I had no idea what's going on. Davis hits the ball to mid-on, it seems, where Lewis Rees fields. Davis gets 1, he moves to 17, and the score moves on to 23 without loss.
There we go, Mikey's moved now, so we're all right.
Nice. We're all right. At least we can actually see some cricketers and some action today, because on Wednesday, I know that you happened to listen to a little bit of the coverage, didn't you, Dave? On Wednesday, there was with these big covers were drawn across, were cocooned inside the media centre, and it was absolutely tipping it down as Jennings tries to drive through the offside, but it bounces into just a few yards just outside his off stump, and he's got no idea where the ball's gone. He says to Davis, "Is there a run there?" And Alex Davis says, "No, there is not." And that completes the 4th over. 23 without loss, Lancashire Lightning. After 4, 99 is their target to win the game. 17 of those to Davis and 5 to Keaton Jennings.
Most expensive over of the match so far, that one. 13 off it. A couple of 10 run overs off Matt Parkinson. And he was bowling towards the end as Matty McKiernan returns for his 2nd over, the 5th of Lancashire's reply from the river end. He's going to be bowling to Alex Davis. Fielders spread as much as they can be inside the power play. McKiernan, he's in and bowls. That strikes the pad of Davis and dribbles out into the offside. He was trying to force that one square of the wicket to the far side of the ground, where those trees had just started to move a little bit more than they were when we arrived. 23 without loss. 1 or 2 of those are showing signs of it being, of autumn being imminent. Certainly some golden colours in there. Davis waits with his bat raised and he drives straight back at McKiernan, who stops it in his follow through. Yes, I've seen Ben Aitchison. He was out there on the pitch when the lads were going through their warm-up. Recovery going well, according to his mum. It's good to know. I will speak to him at some point. McKiernan, I don't think I've ever spoken to Matty McKiernan, in all honesty. This one is driven up towards long on, where Anish Dal does the fielding. And again, they go through for a very comfortable single, which means that Sam Connors is back out near us, but not in front of us on this occasion, which is good news. He's at mid-wicket. He's one of the 2 men out. The other one is Anish Dal at long on for the leg spinning Matty McKiernan, who's conceded just the 1 run off this over so far. He's on his way in again. He tosses himself a catch first, but he sort of starts with a trot, then slows down to a walk, and then into his delivery action, turning to the leg side by Keaton Jennings. Barnes chases it towards the boundary. Connors comes in off it to do the fielding. But again, very comfortable single. 25 without loss in the 5th over. All very straightforward so far for Lancashire, as you would expect. Derbyshire having made 98 for 7. Kiernan bowls down the leg side. That'll be not signalled a wide. Why was that not signalled a wide?
I don't know. It appeared a little leg-sided, didn't it?
Well, it looked like a bit, well, it missed the stumps and it went behind the batsman. That's always a clue, I always think. But anyway, Steve O'Shaughnessy took pity on the bowler. Davis hasn't taken pity on him because he's launched this out towards the extra cover boundary for 4 runs. When it left the bat, he hadn't quite got hold of it, and now he's slipped as he he went through for the single and then fell over. He's okay though. He's back up. And that was the final ball of the over. 6 from it, 29 without loss after 5. McKiernan's done all right so far. 2 overs for 8 runs, decent effort. But then again, the Lancashire batsmen really don't have to go hard at this. They just have to play sensibly for a 10-wicket win, you would have thought. They might be mindful of potentially of net run rate. I know you were talking to Kevin on Wednesday about the 3rd place teams, and one of those 3rd place teams is going to miss out, and net run rate is the first of the deciding tiebreakers, if you like. So I know Lancashire would be aiming to finish in the top 2 in the North group, but if they don't and they finish 3rd, then the better their net run rate is,
the
more chance they've got of going through as one of the 2 best 3rd place teams.
Yeah, the top 2 guaranteed a place in the quarter-finals. Jennings uses his feet to Madsen, who chips it a little uppishly through mid-on, but for a single. So the top 2 guaranteed a place, and then the 2 best 3rd place sides also reaching a quarter-final. So yeah, something to Lancashire, I'm sure, will have in mind in terms of trying to try and win emphatically and improve the run rate. They're always tight, aren't they? The groups in the T20. They're always come down to a point or 2, or run rate, or most wins, that type of thing. They very rarely see either in the North or the South group, when it's been 2 over the last few years, one team powering the way in front. No. They're always pretty tight affairs. Madsen to Davis came down the pitch, and that's pushed away into the offside, and there's no run.
That generator sounds like it's going to explode behind us, doesn't it?
Madsen again. Davis forcing the ball. Lewis Rees is at mid-off, no run. I'm not actually. This generator's right behind us, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear it.
Yeah. It's only small.
Oh, right.
Powering the entire ground. I think it's powering most of Liverpool by the sound of it.
I wonder what those extra extension leads were for. Davis works this delivery through mid-wicket and jogs through for 1. Score moves on to 31 without loss.
A couple of people charging their phones in Huyton. You're welcome.
Free lecky for a week. plug into the generator at Egbert. Madsen to Jennings. Jennings defending a little tentatively, but there's no run.
It is interesting, isn't it, the amount of spin that Lancashire had. And if it is the same pitch that they're using the 4-day game, Derbyshire have got plenty of spin options as well. I wonder if we'll see a spin fest.
Pushed away by Jennings and through the hands of Wayne Madsen. Jennings gets a single. At the end of the over, I think it is, yeah. 32 without loss after 6. That's a good shout, yeah. I mean, Lancashire do tend to always play at least 2 frontline spinners when they come to Liverpool. Bearing in mind, it looks like I think it will be the same pitch. We can try and clarify afterwards, but it could be a bit of a spin fest this week.
It might give McKiernan an extra opportunity to get into the team. We might see a bit of Leas de Ploy in the 4-day game with his left arm spin. Obviously, Matt Critchley, if Wayne Madsen gets through this okay, and he's bowled his first 2 overs for just 6 runs, who knows? We may well get some prompt finishes in the 4-day game. Which might be a nice change. 32 without loss after 6. Derbyshire at the same stage. End of the power play. We're 18 for 4 and effectively lost the game by that point. Having lost their top 4 batsmen, Godalming, Rees, Madsen and Deploy. But it's been a spirited effort from the bowlers. As we're going to see more spin. We've seen 2 overs of the medium paces or the quicks, depending on how you want to rate Sam Connors and Ed Barnes. And every other over has been bowled by a spinner. We're going to see some leg spin now from Matt Critchley from the river end. He's going to be bowling to the left-handed Keaton Jennings. It just fooled me for a moment. I couldn't exactly work out where he was standing. It's definitely Keaton Jennings. But you can't see his hair under his helmet.
It's a shame.
Whereas you can see it poking out of his cap.
I can't believe that he's getting stick for that from.
No, I can't. I like it. I don't mind long hair. I like a bit of long hair.
It's a work of art.
Yes, absolutely. So fielders spread far and wide. Required rate 4.7. Matt Critchley looks at the scoreboard for some reason before he comes in to bowl. Bowls to Keaton Jennings, turn into the leg side. There'll be a single there. They think about pushing for 2, but Leas deploys in quite quickly, the South African, and hurls the ball straight over the stumps for Harvey Hussain to take. Matty McKiernan in the far distance near the scorers. He's at long on. Lewis Rees at long off. That perhaps tells you that Wayne Madsen might not be 100% because he's normally at long on. Although having said that, he's somewhere near a boundary because most of the fielders are. As many as possible, certainly. Davis waits and just clips this into the offside. Chance for a run out hill. My word, that's a shocker of a throw from Ed Barnes, who looped it about 6 foot over Harvey Hussain's head, having picked it up no more than 3 or 4 yards away from the stumps. I'm not entirely sure what he was trying to do there. Perhaps it's stuck in his hand. But it wasn't his finest moment in the field, Ed Barnes. Bowled okay before, but conceded 13. Critchley's in and bowls, turning to the leg side. And there's a single on offer to pretty much every delivery. And when you only need 4 3/4 runs and over, well, you don't need to take any chances, do you? 35 without loss. Going very nicely indeed here, Lancashire. 3 singles off the first 3 deliveries of the Critchley over, and this one is cut, and there's going to be more than a single here because they're going to get at least 2, if not 3, and possibly 4. They are going to get 4 because the ball hits the boundary rope now at backward point, and Davis moves up to 28, and Lancashire to 39 without loss, and we're only in the 7th over, and they're chasing 99 to win. What I'm going to tell everybody at 4:30. It's not finished yet, but it will be soon. Full toss this time, and it's punched down the ground. It'll be fielded there by McKiernan. Just a single taken. So fielders on the move for the left-hander now. 40 up, 40 for no loss after 6 overs and 4 balls. Now, if they'd batted first and had been batting like this, I'd have been getting very excited. I don't think they'd have been batting like this, though. You can just get that feeling. Critchley. Again, tosses himself a catch, a couple of steps down the track from Keaton Jennings, turns it into the leg side. Barnes does the fielding, no run, end of the over. 8 off it, 40 without loss after 7. Lancashire well on the way.
Take a look at that other game that is taking place this afternoon. There's one in Bristol in the Central Group, so there's another afternoon start. And Worcestershire have been set a target of 182 to win the match. Gloucestershire made 181 for 4 from 20, and the Rapids are 118 for 6 in the 17th over, so 64 required from 3.2 overs.
It's a big ask. We've all been there.
Ross Whiteley, well, he can hit it.
He can. Hit 6 sixes in an over, in a 50 over game, didn't he? But they lost. I was listening to Bradders yesterday. He likes to mention that when he can. There was a wide in there as well, and people were questioning whether it counted as 6 successive sixes, but I think it does. Alex Hughes comes on for Derbyshire.
Be a bit harsh to take it away from him, wouldn't
well,
it?
I think so, yeah. He couldn't reach the one that he didn't hit for 6.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ed Barnard, the other batsman for the Rapids, is unbeaten on 12. Here is Hughes to Davis. And clipping through the onside for a single, just flicks it off his pads and jogs through for 1. So yeah, we're coming to the halfway stage of the group campaign. It just gives you a little clearer idea, perhaps, as to how things might pan out through the course of the next few games. This is the halfway point for Derbyshire and for Lancashire. Jennings on striker, is Hughes in. Oh, a little clever paddle by Keaton Jennings. He'll get 4 for it, I think, down towards the boundary. Or is it just going to get pulled in? It just gets pulled in by Connors. In fact, Jennings thought it had gone for 4 as well, because he kind of hesitated and thought, oh, has he not reached the rope? I'll have to run back and run a third here. It's a 3 in the end for Keaton Jennings, but it's a very smart touch play by Keaton Jennings, just to paddle the ball down towards fine leg. And he gets himself 3, so he moves up to 13. Lancashire Lightning 44 without loss in the 8th over. Davis waiting, cutting the ball towards deep backward point for 1. 45 without loss. Davis moves to 31. So yeah, Notts Outlaws are tops with 6 points. Lancashire Lightning are second with 6 points. Both played 4, albeit Lancashire will go top 2 points clear, but having played a game more, with the Outlaws playing tonight. Yorkshire 4th, 4 points. Derbyshire 5th with 2 points. Jennings guides his delivery into the onside. There is no run, and Durham are at the bottom of the North Group. Just the 1 point so far from the 4 games. The other 2 groups, well, the Central Group, Northamptonshire Steelbacks have won 4 of their 5 games, and they're top with 9 points, so a great start for the Steelbacks. Hughes to Jennings. Gets a single here. Squad moves on to 46 without loss. Gloucestershire are second with 5 points from 4. Somerset third, 5 points from 4. And Glamorgan 4th, 3 points from 5. The Bears of Birmingham are 5th, 3 points from 4. And the Rapids have played 4 and lost 3 so far. Davis off the back foot, pushing it through the covers for a single. And the end of the over, it is. It's 47 for without loss. Davis has 32, Jennings has 14. 99 is the target for Lancashire Lightning. And the other group, the South Group, Kent are top, 6 points from 4 games. Sussex are second, 5 points from 4. Middlesex are third, 4 points from 4. Surrey 4th, 4 from 4. Hampshire and Essex Eagles pick up the rest. And here's Dave Fletcher.
There's Matt Critchley bowling from the river end as Davis just guides it very nicely, just slightly backward of square into the offside. Connors does the filling. It's a slightly wild throw. He apologises immediately. Lancashire move on to 48 without loss. I'd have preferred it really if they'd have just gone for it and won it in 10 overs, in all honesty. It's like death by 1,000 cuts, isn't it, this at the moment? Everybody knows what the final result's going to be. Derbyshire's fielders, I suppose, are getting a bit of a workout, which is useful. And as Dahl moves a bit squarer at the point of boundary, Critchley comes in and bowls to him. The reverse sweep comes out and he has to go fine again because he's having to chase that one, and he gets there. Terrific piece of fielding from Dahl, who is a fine fielder. Quickest man on a cricket pitch in the country. And they run 2 half-century. The 50 is up for Lancashire in the 9th over. 50 without loss. Cruising towards a 10-wicket victory, you would have thought. And then we can all go home and come back in 2 days' time and forget this ever happened. Critchley in, a couple of steps down the track from Keaton Jennings, and he plays it straight to Billy Godleman at shortish mid-wicket. Lewis Rees removes his cap and starts wheeling his arms around. He's removed his sweater as well. We're going to see some Lewis Rees in a minute. Reverse sweep comes out, big appeal for leg before wicket. Oh, I tell you what, Steve O'Shaughnessy lifted the hand up a fraction and then shook his head.
What a tease.
He was going to give that.
He was teasing.
He was going to give it. He's thought, no, I've not seen a 10-wicket win for a while. Well, he was ready there, wasn't he?
Yeah, Lancashire cruising towards a victory here. The 50 without loss in the 9th. They're chasing 99 runs to win the game. Derbyshire making a complete mess of their 20 overs. Just 2 players, or 3 players actually, reaching double figures. The standout being Alex Hughes, who made 32, but the Falcons were reduced to 18 for 3, and then 4 down for 18, 5 for 35, 6 for 48. You get the picture. Eventually 98 for 7 they finished on, with 2 wickets for Tom Bailey, 1 each for Hartley, Lamb and for Parry, who playing his first game of the season. So just a modest total of 99 for Lancashire to win the game. Alex Davis currently unbeaten on 33 and Keaton Jennings on 17, and Lancashire after 9 overs are 51 without loss.
End of the over, 51 without loss, 9 gone, 4 off the over and half a wicket for Matt Critchley. He definitely moved his arm, didn't he?
He did, he twitched, didn't he? Yeah.
I was getting ready to call it. And then he put it back in his pocket.
He was teasing.
Steve O'Shaughnessy, unbelievable. Wait till I see him. I won't be saying good morning. I shall snub him for teasing us. It's bad enough that they're going to lose, but to be teased as well. Lewis Rees, your end, I think, isn't it?
It is, I think,
Lewis Rees is going to bowl the 10th over from the pavilion end. It's a lot quicker when I don't have to do lives. I just basically record one, send it to them, and hope that it gets there. Because we've given up on every form of broadcasting device that I've brought, and I brought plenty.
Well, that's what surprises me.
I've got everything.
You've got all bases covered.
Absolutely everything.
Here is Rees, left arm of the wicket, leaning into it is Keaton Jennings to nudge it back down the pitch, and frantically trying to make his ground at the non-striker's end was Alex Davis. No run to start the 10th.
Yeah, I thought it was foolproof. My car was, the petrol consumption was poor on the way here. It had that much equipment in it. And me, of course, which was probably the heaviest thing, in fairness. But yeah, no, everything's collapsed.
Rees to Jennings. Drill back down the ground for a single. He moves to 19, 53 without loss. So do you need to kind of have a little rethink for Sunday?
I've already got plans in place, yeah.
Right.
I'm going to meet somebody in Manchester.
Down the back alley or something with some dodgy equipment.
In a car park. I've got a supplier of equipment who's fetching some up from Derby for me, so hopefully I'll be all right. If I'm not, we'll just have to do it like this. And it's one of the joys of outgrounds, isn't it? The joys of an outground.
It does bring its challenges, but it's good fun.
Oh, it's terrific fun.
I enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Plane taking off from John Lennon Airport. You'll be able to hear it rattling its engines as it gets a little higher in the sky. There's Davis now driving through mid-off for a single. Matty McKiernan comes up from the boundary to field. Davis gets 1. And Lancashire move on to 53 without loss. Davis to 34 not out. Brings Keaton Jennings on strike. Keeper standing up. Lewis Rees. Blonde-haired Rees. Ball in his left hand. Balls to Jennings. An edge which is picked up, and throw comes in towards the keeper's end, trying to run Davis out. but he managed to get himself through, Alex Davis, and despite Harvey Hussain taking the ball and then demolishing the stumps, there is an additional run added to the Lancashire target. Lancashire total rather, 54 without loss in the 10th.
I was just explaining how things are not working. We have an engineer here, which is an absolute treat.
We do. We're lucky to have, because I wouldn't have a clue how any of this works, to be perfectly honest with you. Rees to Davis, flicked off the pads down to backward square leg for a single.
At the moment, though, the Wi-Fi coming off that green bus there behind the pavilion is actually registering slightly stronger than the Lancashire one on my laptop, which is remarkable.
Someone stop the bus.
Yeah, that bus just wouldn't mind just pulling down this street, then I'm laughing.
55.
Arriva Wi-Fi. It's got to be the bus, hasn't it?
I would think so, yeah.
Unbelievable.
55 without loss in the 10th. Oh, that's made me chuckle. Rees from the pavilion end to Jennings. We've got another plane taking off as Jennings punches through the offside. Oh, it beats two dives, one of short cover, one of mid-off. Jennings comes back and gets himself a third, actually. A little front foot punch through the offside. Two fielders leaping after it, one a fraction behind the other. It got in between the body of both of those fielders at the end of the 10th over. So halfway stage of the innings, and Lancashire Lightning of 58 without loss. Keaton Jennings on 22 and Alex Davis on 35.
Yeah, poor old Lewis Rees. He looked a bit grumpy there that they'd got three, because it beat the dive of Billy Godleman initially and then Leas deploy, but it was just well placed. And if it's well placed, it's well placed. Lewis Rees made 4 from 8. Didn't place anything particularly well when he was batting. Not sure he got room to complain, but you know what sportsmen are like. They can get very grumpy for no reason. And I think Lewis was getting a bit grumpy for no real reason there. Yeah, Arriva's, it's gone off by, it must have been that bus. Here's Critchley beginning a new over. A couple of steps down the track from Keaton Jennings. And they go through for a single. Score moves on to 59 without loss. Looking good. I might be being sorted here. No, I'm not. Critchley's in, balls. This one's played into the leg side by Davis, and they'll trot through for another single. 60 without loss. We're in the 11th over. It's Matt Critchley's third. 14 runs he's conceded so far. He's bowled okay, but the batsman haven't had to take any chances, and this one is driven straight back to him when he dives to his left. Try and stop it. There's a couple of Virgin Wi-Fi's there, but they're both security locked from some of the houses nearby, presumably. Critchley's in again, bowls a full delivery that's turned into a full toss by the left-handed Jennings. Clips it into the leg side. Connors slips as he picks it up, loses his cap, and eventually hurls it back in. They go through for another single. 61 without loss. We'll be all right come Sunday. I'm very confident. Very confident. There's Mikey Cohen with his drinks bottle. If he'll get a game Sunday, be good to see. Critchley just tosses himself a catch. Comes into bowl to Davis, who is bowled as he plays on. He went for the cut, and Derbyshire are not going to lose by 10 wickets because Alex Davis has gone. He made 36, and it goes down as bowled Matt Critchley. Lancashire are 61 for 1. He'd be disappointed, wouldn't he, to be bowled by Matt Critchley.
Yeah, on the back of a great knock against Derbyshire at Headingley. 82, Alex Davis played well this season. In fact, it's been both Davis and Jennings have batted well together as a partnership, both in the Bob Willis Trophy and the T20 Blast. It's kind of a new look top order for Lancashire, because Liam Livingstone would under normal circumstances, be the opening batsman with Alex Davis, but obviously Liam away in a bubble with England, so he can't feature at the minute. And frustratingly for Liam, he's only there as a reserve as well.
I know, that's horrendous, isn't it?
Yeah.
36 from 33 deliveries, 5 fours for Alex Davis. Keaton Jennings hasn't hit a boundary yet. It's remarkable, and 24 from 32 hasn't hit a boundary. Not that they need to hit boundaries, of course, but they haven't hit one.
Gloucestershire have won, by the way, so another defeat for Worcestershire. Shire have won by 30 runs.
Next delivery is defended by the new batsman, who I didn't make a note of. Don't tell me.
It's your mate.
Is it Josh? Excellent. He defends that first delivery. And it's the end of the over. 61 for 1. 3 runs off the over and a wicket. A positive triumph.
So yeah, the Rapids 151 for 9 from their 20. They were chasing 182 to win. So a result for Gloucestershire. They've beaten Worcestershire Rapids by 30 runs. Reminder that later on tonight, games involving the Notts Outlaws and the Leicestershire Foxes. Somerset against the Birmingham Bears at Taunton, and Durham against Yorkshire Vikings at Chesley Street. And there's coverage of those games on the BBC Sport website and app. Here at Liverpool Cricket Club in Egbert. I've been told off on Twitter, by the way.
Have you?
Well, apparently I must have said it was Egbert. I know it's not Egbert Cricket Club.
No, they're down the road, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
I nearly went there.
We're in Egbert.
I knew where I was going, but I still nearly went to the wrong one.
Definitely Liverpool Cricket Club in Egbert, where we're about to see the start of the 12th over. 61 for 1. Keaton Jennings on strike.
More leg spin.
Jennings gets forward, trying to work this delivery. Just behind square on the leg side. Martin McKiernan back into the attack from the pavilion end. Keeper standing up, crouching down now behind the stumps. McKinnon spins the ball from one hand to the other. It's a very slow approach, isn't he?
Yeah.
Very careful, considered approach to the stumps. Jennings leans into it, clips it to square leg for a single.
I don't want to tell him this, I hope he's not listening, but our engineers just put me onto a different Wi-Fi.
Right.
Slower than the other.
Oh, right. Okay.
Don't tell him that. I've gone back to the original. It's also bringing adverts up in German, which was slightly alarming. Happened to me once before that. I was in a that's a story I can tell, I think.
That doesn't fill me with great confidence. That here's McKiernan to Bohannon, who's off the back foot and chopping the ball through the offside for a single.
I worked for a BBC radio station the other side of the Pennines for a while as a freelance, and I went to cover a stage of the Tour de France when it came through Yorkshire. They said it'd be a good idea if you went and stayed on a campsite. So I arrived on the Wednesday. The cyclists weren't coming through till the Sunday. No showers. Me in a Volkswagen camper van.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, with one of these satellite trucks parked next to me.
As Jennings taps the bat, waits for McKiernan, and he meets him. He comes down the pitch and works the ball on the ground through mid-wicket for a single.
And I've realised that you could get the internet from the van. Oh, perfect! I can watch a bit of satellite television on my laptop.
I'm quite sure where this is going.
But it refused. No, don't get nervous. It wouldn't allow me to get on to the app that I needed to get onto.
64 for 1. McKiernan to Bohannon. Looks to try and sweep it. There's no clean contact with the ball. Dot ball.
Because it thought I was in Italy. Because the satellite was pointing to a satellite over Italy, right. And it said, "Well, sorry, you can't have that in this country." And I'm thinking, I'm in this country. No, you're in Italy. I was in Huddersfield. So I couldn't do it.
McKiernan to Bohannon, who drives, stopped at cover. No run, end of the over, and Lancashire Lightning are 64 for 1 after 12, a target of 99 to win. I must admit, when we've done games here, obviously now many times through the years at Liverpool Cricket Club, and we bring the satellite van with us, and the engineer always says to me, now we need to pick out the satellite. It's like something from NASA. Yes. We need to find the satellite. It's low down in the southern skies, and you've got to be. And there's this satellite on the roof of this van. It's like Jodrell Bank, trying to pick out this satellite in the southern skies. It's fascinating.
It's clever, isn't it? And it beeps a lot as it's finding it. Wayne Madsen from the River End. His third over. We might even see Wayne Madsen complete 4 overs. Moving house as well, and I think I've forgotten to send them something. Oh dear. Madsen's in. Reverse sweep attempted by Keaton Jennings. This is the ball completely. Goes through to Harvey Hussain. Dot ball to begin with. And again, Madsen, this was met on the full. It's well fielded there by Matt Critchley, moving away to his left-hand side, in the leg side. Hope he's okay. Getting to his feet rather gingerly. No, he looks all right. Good news, 64 for 1. Jennings waits, and he goes for the reverse sweep again, and this time he gets there. Around comes Anuj Dal to do the fielding. That keeps them down to a single. Harvey Hussain takes the ball on the bounce. Lias Deploy going through his bowling action now, but a left arm spin possibly, just to add to the number of spinners that we've seen this afternoon. Lengthy discussion, first one of the day really, going on between Wayne Madsen and his skipper Billy Godleman, and a slight change in the field for Bohannon. He's right-handed for a start, but Matt Critchley is going to go backward of square on the offside to a backward point on the edge of the 30-yard circle. Yeah, Lias Deploy's definitely warming up as Madsen comes into bowl. It's a full delivery and it beats the man Billy Godleman coming in at mid-wicket, but not Matty McKiernan coming in off the edge of the 30-yard circle at mid-on, and it's another dot ball. 65 for 1 it remains. And this time he clips it straight to Billy Godleman at mid-wicket. Does Josh Bohannon. So he's just finding the fielders at the moment. They couldn't, could they? No, they couldn't. Madsen bowls and it's turned backward of square onto the leg side. Ed Barnes does the fielding, picks up and turns like the QE2, throws the ball in over the stumps, and it's the end of the over. 66-1, just 2 runs off that over. So as spectacles go, this is a fairly dull one, in all honesty, because we know what the result's going to be. It's just a matter of when they get there, really. And at the moment, and we are going to see some Lias Deploy, and I don't think he's bowled for Derbyshire in the T20. In fact, I'm certain he hasn't bowled for Derbyshire in the T20. Somebody to my right will check for me, but I don't think he's bowled, no. I didn't think he had. He's bowled in first-class cricket, but not in the short form of the game. But he is a useful left-arm spinner. He picked up a couple of wickets in that friendly that they played against Lancashire, Derbyshire, Chester, Broughton Hall, just before the start of the season. It was one of those, you know, you bat for 60 and we'll bat for one of those jobs. And he definitely bowled in that. I didn't go. I wasn't sure if I was allowed or not, or I might get thrown out. So I didn't bother.
I went to the warm-up match between Lancashire and Yorkshire at Headingley. Did the 2 days there. I quite enjoyed it. It was just good to watch some cricket. But
yes.
And he's deployed to Bohannon, punched up to mid-off. Rees tumbling to his left to stop the ball. Bohannon gets a single. 67 for 1. But that was similar. It was Yorkshire bat one day. That was the agreement, and Lancashire would bat the other day.
Yeah.
You know, both sides getting what they can from it. Seems like a long time ago now. We've actually played quite a lot of cricket since.
Yes, they've packed it in, haven't they? They've packed it in.
It has been good fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Been some good games. Started with that victory for Leicestershire against Lancashire at New Road, and then Derbyshire's win at Trent Bridge. I mean,
start to the North Group for Derbyshire.
Brilliant, yeah. Deployed to Keaton Jennings. Goes back, clips the ball behind square on the leg side and jogs through for 1.
See, the other thing that you would probably want to do, I know it's a white ball against a red ball, but if Sam Connors is going to be bowling in the 4-day game, and he hasn't bowled an awful lot against Lancashire, I don't think.
This is wonderfully caught, brilliant catch by Matty McKiernan as Bohannon came down the pitch to meet it on the fall and caught wonderfully at mid-on. A terrific diving catch by McKiernan. That looks spectacular. He'll have enjoyed that, and the Derbyshire boys will have enjoyed it as well. The end of Bohannon. He's gone for 3, I think. And Lancashire have lost their second wicket, chasing that 99 to win the game in the 14th over. 68 for 2, but great work by Matty McKinnon.
Yeah, it's a terrific catch, wasn't it? Diving away to his left-hand side. As you say, he'll have enjoyed it against his former county. Lister Ploy picks up a wicket from a full toss. And the best it could be is an 8-wicket defeat now. Or the worst it can be. Best it can be for Lancashire is an 8-wicket win. Which is a little surprising, really. They've been in complete control of this game from the start, in all honesty. And Dane Villas has come out to bat now, which doesn't bode well for the Lancashire bowlers, I don't think. But the point I was sort of going to make there was that if Sam Connors, who was relatively new to first-class cricket, they won't have seen Michael Cohen, they won't have seen much of Ed Barnes. Just don't bowl them in this game. Don't give them an opportunity to see them before the game on Sunday. I know it's a red ball and a white ball and that kind of thing, but it sort of makes sense. It does in my head, anyway.
Dane Villas, as Fletch mentioned, the new batsman. Lancashire skipper. He wants a single straight away, but there could be a run out here as he just chops the ball behind point. And the throw came in. And had it been a slightly better throw, Keaton Jennings may have been struggling with it.
Alex Hughes, I think, yeah, Alex Hughes with the throw. Sort of throwing from a prone position, wasn't he, which is never easy.
Yeah, he was going to say it was on his side, wasn't he, trying to hurl the ball in. Jennings meets it and plays a lovely shot back over the bowler's head. A couple of bounces and it skids into the advertising board in front of the red brick pavilion. Jennings gets himself 4. He moves to 32 and Lancashire now to 73 for 2.
His first boundary. Hasn't had to take any chances at all, has he? He's just played nicely, stayed out there. Moved on to 32 from 40 with only getting the 1 boundary.
And Duploy to Jennings, and that's same again. Perhaps a little towards the offside than the onside on this occasion, but nicely played. Back-to-back boundaries for Keaton Jennings, and Lancashire now edging nearer to that target. 77 for 2 at the end of the 14th over. Keaton Jennings on 36. 99 is a target for Lancashire.
That was Keaton Jennings' second boundary. in 2 balls. So he's obviously decided what he wants to do. We're going to see Matt Critchley come back from the river end. So it's just going to be a continuous spin. I don't know quite what you'd get if you had continuous spin. Dizzy, I imagine, but more spin, certainly. Sam Connors, who's standing no more than 10, 12 yards in front of us, doesn't look like he's necessarily going to bowl again anytime soon, does he? Neither does Ed Barnes, who's currently on the edge of the 30-yard circle. Anuj Dal would bowl a bit in first-class cricket, doesn't bowl much in T20 for some reason, I've no idea why, but he might bowl a bit in the 4-day game, assuming that he plays. See how many more overs of spin would be possible. As Critchley is in bowls, and that's a very agricultural looking shot from Dane Villas, trying to hoik it from way outside the off stump, somewhere into the leg side, gets the toe end of the bat to it, and it dribbles out to Lister Ploy at extra cover. Goes for the reverse this time. There's a big appeal for leg before wicket, not even a flinch this time from Steve O'Shaughnessy, the umpire. They're going to come back for 2. I don't think he's going to signal anything either, so the reason that he didn't give an LBW decision was because he thinks he hit it. It did sound a little woody, in all honesty, and therefore not a surprise that he didn't give it. Not too many overs of spin available now. many overs we've got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 after this one. McKinnon's got 1, Madsen's got 1. Critchley, this will be his final over, and Deploy's got 3, but I'm not sure we'll see him again. As Critchley is in and bowls a full delivery that's pushed out into the offside for another single by Dane Villas. He moves on to 4. And Lancashire 280 for 2. You know what's going to happen now? I'm going to record this, and by the time it's played out on the radio, they'll have won. Well, there we go. You can't help that kind of thing. Actually, I better record it now. Is that all right, Scott?
No problem.
Sorry.
No. Yeah, we're at the time, approaching 5 o'clock. Different radio updates are due. Keaton Jennings on 36, 80 for 2. Jennings taps the bat and just turns the ball behind square on the leg side for a single, just rolling the ball. And he's bat across that front pad. Picked up by Barnes. Jennings moves up to 37. Score moves on to 81 for 2. Critchley, a little towel hooked into the back of his trousers, bowls. Venice off the front foot, pushing through the offside. He moves to 5, 82 for 2. I can still picture that piece of fielding that Dane Villas did when the innings was almost done. I think Derbyshire were 80 odd for 7 with an over 2 to go or something like that, and he was hurtling himself around on the boundary edge with Dane Villas, trying to stop the ball reaching the boundary for 4. It thuds into the pad of Keaton Jennings and balloons into the onside. Jennings gets himself an extra run. End of the over, 83 for 2. And then he picked himself up and was hobbling around with Dane Villas after that piece of very enthusiastic fielding, when I thought for a second he'd done himself a bit of an injury. It's good to see him out there batting when it looked like that piece of very enthusiastic but perhaps not necessarily needed fielding may have caused him some damage. But anyway, Lancashire captain's all right. He's out there, and he'll be hoping to be out there for when Lancashire get over the line, because they're not too far away now. 83 for 2. At the start of the 16th over, 99 is their target to win the game. And Dave Fletcher is back alongside me. No, he's not. As Jennings works the ball into the onside as Madsen comes into the attack from the pavilion end. Clipped away for a single by Keaton Jennings. He moves to 39. The score moves on to 84 for 2. Certainly used plenty of options. McKinnon's bowled 3 overs. Connor's 1. Madsen's bowled 3. This is his 4th and final over. Barnes has bowled 1. Critchley's bowled out now. He's bowled 4 overs, 1 for 21. Hughes has bowled 1 over. Rees has bowled 1 over. Deploy's bowled 1 over. Madsen's 3 overs have gone for just the 8 prior to the start of his 4th and final. This is hit back towards him, and Villas and Jennings get through for a single. And that Madsen low to his left there, getting something on the ball, trying to stop it. May have even been a chance, but
sharp one, wasn't it? I think.
Was, yeah.
I think you're right.
It's hit pretty firmly by Dane Villas.
Yeah.
I think in the end it may have just been a good stop from Madsen rather than a chance. He comes in from the pavilion end and bowls to Jennings. It's hit back over his head, and that'll be 4 runs for Keaton Jennings. Glorious looking shot. He's hit a couple of those straight drives really nicely so far. Now that perhaps the sweetest one of the lot. The onside of straight, pretty emphatic. He moves up to 43, and Lancashire are now 10 runs away, 89 for 3 in the 16th. Jennings will sweep this next delivery. He'll get 4 more, I think, down towards the boundary in front of the tennis courts and the tennis pavilion. He does get another 4. And Jennings on to 47.
You know, they put that 93 up before the ball had got within 15 yards of the boundary.
They're quick.
That is quick.
I get fooled every time I come here. That scoreboard, it often deceives me. They flash up the numbers pretty quickly. Looking for a half century here, Keaton Jennings. He'll get another run. He'll move to 48. The bottom edge of a sweep is fielded inside the circle. 48 to him now, 94 for 2. Brings Dane Villas on strike.
He doesn't want to hit a 6 here, does he? Deny his mate a half century.
Villas comes down the pitch and tries to hit a big shot, but makes no contact. And the keeper, Harvey Hussain, comes darting from behind the stumps to field. So Keaton Jennings will have a chance to try and get himself a 50 and get the team over the line. That's the end of the over. 94 for 2. Lancashire now just a delivery or so away from victory, with Jennings on 48 and Villas on 6.
I think he did actually want to hit.
I think he did. Yep.
6, didn't he? Yeah, that's what he was trying to do there. So Matty McKeon will bowl what will inevitably be the final over, you would have thought, although he's bowled fairly miserly so far, hasn't he?
Matty McKeon has bowled 3 overs for 11.
Yeah, decent. Call it home, Scott, call it home.
Well, Jennings would be hoping to hit it home from a Lancashire point of view. Where's he looking here? He's looking leg side. He's on 48. It'd be a pretty neat way for him and for Lancashire to get over the line if Jennings can reach a 50. He hit a magnificent century against Durham in the first group game of the competition this year. Highest score by a Lancashire player in T20 cricket. His maiden maiden T20 century as well. He's got a single from his first delivery though.
Dangerous. Dangerous from a Jennings point of view. He's on 49 now. He could get stranded there, you know. Going to need a boundary and it'll be all over. He wouldn't, would he?
I think Keaton Jennings would be too concerned.
No, I'm sure he wouldn't. I'm sure he wouldn't.
49.
Be funny though.
Well, Villas came dancing down the pitch, didn't he, trying to smack it for 6, the last ball he faced. Here's Matty McKeon slowly creeping in. Villas going back. Playing the ball off the back foot through the offside, but deployed at extra cover to field. No run, dot ball.
He's trying to make it too hard here.
There's not much of a gap there on the offside to try and thread the ball through, is there really, with mid-off, 2 extra covers, point, short final at third man. Get a single through the onside. 97 for 2. Nope, 96 for 2, that scoreboard. Dearie me.
We'll have to watch that one. We've got 4 days of second guessing the scoreboard coming up.
That single went up before he hit the shot.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So 96 for 2, 3 more required to win. And Jennings on 49. He's on strike. Here's McKeon to Jennings. Down the pitch he comes, and flicking the ball through the onside. It's picked up at backwards square leg, but for no run.
Picked up at the 15th attempt there by Sam Connors. It was juggling with it for about 30 seconds.
Well, it was a bit of a bobble, wasn't it, as it came to him. Brushes past the umpire as McKeon and bowls again. A little flatter this time, and Jennings again with a step or 2 down the pitch and a skip towards the bowler and eases the ball into the offside. Billy Godalman's at extra cover to field. It's another dot ball. Jennings, such a tall man, he towers up above the stumps and above the keeper. Taps the bat again. Waits for McKeon, who's bowling to him. Looks to try and reverse sweep it. There's an appeal from McKeon, and that is the end of the over. And Dane Villas might be saying, well, you've had your chance now, mate. Just get it done and dusted in this over. 96 for 2 with Keaton Jennings on 49 and Dane Villas on 7.
I don't know, the batsmen aren't taking any chances, but pretty well bowled by Matty McKeon. 4 overs for 13. Bowled nicely at Old Trafford 2 years ago, which was his T20 debut for Derbyshire, and then disappeared without trace. Some supporters out the back here getting very excited about the potential of a Lancashire win.
I think they may have had a couple of Friday afternoon scoops.
I think they might have done.
Deployed to Villas, play back towards the bowler. In fact, I heard them before the game started.
Really?
Yeah, when I was chatting to Graham Onions, I could hear them going, "Oh, like it." Villas says, "Enough's enough. I want this done and dusted," and absolutely launches the ball back over the bowler's head for a 6 up towards the pavilion. And a pretty emphatic way for Lancashire to clinch victory with that 6 by, it might even be the first 6 of the game, by Dane Villas.
McKinnon hit one, didn't he?
Ah, yes, all remembered. So 8-wicket win for Lancashire. Villas ending unbeaten on 13. Keaton Jennings on 49, 102 for 2, Lancashire. And well, we knew the outcome. Well, we knew the outcome after about 6 or 7 overs of the game, in truth. But a pretty emphatic victory for the Red Rose.
Quick to cut the grass. Blimey. Players haven't even left the pitch yet. They're cutting the grass. What's going on? They better get off quick. They'll have the toenails clipped. Okay, well, that's remarkable. And yet
injury caused by the ground staff mowing down the players.
Yeah, but if you try to get a gardener to come round at short notice like that, you've no chance. Absolutely no chance. Anyway, now Lancashire played really well, didn't they? So I reckon that's by 16 deliveries to spare, but I wouldn't swear to it. The beautiful smell of freshly mown grass will accompany us in the post-match interviews, and it's been a delight. I have enjoyed it despite everything, and we'll do it at a more leisurely pace, I think, for 4 days, starting on Sunday 10:30. Don't forget. But that was the simplest of run chases in the end, wasn't it? 36 to Alex Davis, 3 to Josh Bohannon, who never really got going. Faced 9 deliveries before he was caught brilliantly by Matty McKinnon off the bowling of Leas Deploy. Critchley with the Davis wicket. Keaton Jennings denied the half century because Dane Villas struck a 6 to win the game with 16 deliveries to spare. But in truth, it could have been far more emphatic. That's a horrible sentence, and I'm sorry I started it, but it could have been more emphatic, couldn't it, really? If they'd have had to have gone at 6s and 7s, they probably would. They didn't have to. The only thing I would say is that I hope that Lancashire don't live to regret that come the final reckoning. If they don't finish in the top 2 and they miss out on net run rate, they'll probably look at this game and think, well, why didn't we do it? But the most important thing is to pick up the points first and foremost, and as you said earlier, they're now top of the group temporarily, but they're top of the group, so the chances are they'll probably finish in the top 2.
Well, our thanks to our commentary team, Dave Fletcher and Scott Reed, sealed with a 6 for Dane Villas and Lancashire Lightning, who win their 3rd match of this North Group campaign in the Vitality Blast. We'll be talking to a man of the match in a moment, but first of all, welcome back to Richard Gleeson and to Graham Onions. Graham, you were right. You said it wouldn't be plain sailing. It was the definition of a sticky wicket, yeah. But actually, in the end, Lancashire fairly comfortable.
Yeah, I think we did it the right way. We could have maybe went all guns blazing to start off with, potentially would have lost a few wickets. But once again, Al Davies and Keaton Jennings were outstanding. They set the platform, and then obviously Keats to see us over the line was great. Yeah, just an all-round really good performance.
As far as pacing and innings goes, Keaton Jennings did exactly what Derbyshire didn't manage to do. He waited around. I think it was 15 overs before his first boundary, but in the end, just to get Lancashire over the line, he produced.
Yeah, we spoke about maybe trying to hit 2s and hitting the gaps, and then when he got the bad ball, he put it away, and it was the perfect innings really for that wicket. He took his time, executed his plans, and hit in his areas. It was again a very good innings from Keaton, and supported by Al up top. And Dane just took his 50 away from him there at the end by hitting that 6, but I don't think he'd be too disappointed.
Yes, that is a spiteful act from a captain, isn't it? Just before we bring in the man of the match, Richard, I just wanted to ask you, as far as Lancashire and a team is concerned, facing all sorts of different challenges, and today particularly it was the conditions of the pitch, but being able to win regardless of those circumstances is an important part for a team to at least feel that they're able to do.
Yeah, winning's a habit in this format, and to get going well, it stands in good stead for after the break with the 4-day game. So they'll be really pleased with the start they've had. The guys seem to be firing, they know the jobs, they know the roles, and they're executing it really well.
Richard, step aside if you wouldn't mind. We're going to bring you back in just a moment and bring in the man of the match, Tom Bailey. Tom, if you'd like to go and stand this, I feel like this is some sort of X Factor second round stage. Congratulations. We'll come to your performance in just a moment, because actually it's quite hard to pick a man of the match today because everybody contributed, particularly from you guys when you managed to restrict Derbyshire for just 98 in their 20 overs.
Yeah, I think that's the success of sort of the last 4 games that we played, is everyone sort of chipped in when they've needed to, and I think if we do that for the next 5, then we'll be playing a quarter-final.
Taking a ball with the first wicket of your spell is something that you enjoy. It's happened more than once. So what's the trick of getting it on the mark first up?
I have no idea. It's an absolute lottery, T20 cricket. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Nothing to do with the coaching that you get from Graham Onions.
I was hoping he was going to say something along that
really good opportunity.
It's a lottery. Thanks.
So can you try and explain to us why Tom is so accurate from the very beginning, and how much that, we talked about pressure all day, how much that puts a batsman under pressure?
Well, because he's got skill, he's got that determination to want to do it. He hasn't played T20 for a long period of time. He's got himself fit and strong over the period of time, the lockdown period, and basically he's leading our attack as a senior player now, and it's credit to him really, and he won't say it that way because he's a good lad and stuff, but he deserves it. The easy option would have went down Keaton Jennings' way, and he's to be fair, he has seen us through and won the game, but you have to set it up, and Tom did it with the rest of the bowlers, put Derbyshire under a lot of pressure, and well done, Tom.
Yeah, 2 for 4 in your first 2 overs. One of those wickets came from a catch from Luke Woods, who made quite the impression. He didn't get a wicket, but he got a run out and a catch in the first over that he wasn't bowling.
Yeah, well, he made it look very easy. I'm just happy he clung on to it at the end.
Tell us a little bit about Luke and how much you hope that he'll contribute as well over the course of the next few games.
Yeah, I think he's been plagued with a few injuries in the recent months, so it's just really good to see him out in the park, and he's shown what he's done for Worcester and Notts. I think he's won a couple of trophies with them, and hopefully he can do it with Lancashire.
And about the pitch, how did you find it? And did it take a little bit of adjusting? You managed to strangle one down the leg side as well, so it was difficult from all angles for the batsmen today.
I think it was 50-50 with the toss. We didn't know what the pitch was going to play like, but we thought it'd be best to sort of give our batters an idea, and that's why we bowled first. But the pitch was okay.
That's very politely put, I would imagine. And tell us about the change to T20 cricket. You started early in your career by playing a lot of T20 cricket, not so much recently because of your exploits in the Championship, amongst other things. So how much are you enjoying the opportunity that perhaps Richard's injury and other circumstances led to you playing more?
Like our T20 side has been like very good, so it's been so hard to get in that team for the last few years, and I've always been chomping at the bit to play. And it's unfortunate that other bowlers have picked up a few injuries, but I'm really enjoying playing white ball cricket.
Well, we hope you continue that form. Well done today, Tom, for your 2 for 13 off 3 overs. And I think you haven't sung the song yet, so you better get back into the dressing room and clear those vocal cords and give us a rendition.
Cheers,
thank you very much indeed, Tom.
Cheers.
Tom Bailey, our man of the match. Richard's going to just step in for our final couple of moments. As you look, and we said it to Richard there, Graham, at the way that Lancashire are managing to win these games from different angles, different circumstances, different methods. How pleased are you from what you've seen so far?
Yeah, we're finding a way. I thought, look, today's performance was really good on a pitch that was tricky, incredibly slow. We managed to squeeze them through the middle overs, and we bowled brilliantly up top, really. And then obviously with the bat, we found a way to hit any kind of width. We had a few boundaries. We ran hard. I think we had the mindset, we can win this game, and we probably look at the table now thinking, we've got a great opportunity to, go to the next stage, but we've got to keep on winning, keep that mindset of playing good cricket.
It's a very, certainly from the outside looking in, Richard, it seems a very professional operation. The players know their roles, they know their tasks, and they set about it in exactly the right way with the right attitude. Is that the sense that you want to give out? Because I would imagine that Glenn Chappell would say that's exactly what he expects, and Dane Villas too.
Yeah, I think the intensity in the field really sets the tone for the team. That's one thing I noticed when I joined. Every ball is an event, and everybody wants the ball to come to them. And you can see the way the guys throw themselves around. Dane sets the tone himself. He missed out on one that was pretty much already gone for 4, but throwing himself around, winning himself. He's there, he's doing it, he's in the thick of it. I think Tom said the other day, for someone that's 35 to be doing that and setting an example, it makes it easy for the rest of the lads to follow. And then with the bat and ball, they've got the plans and they're executing at the minute, so it's really good to see.
Thank you for your company today, Richard, and to you, Graham. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on a very special day for you, announcing your retirement. We wish you well, and we hope to see you again.
Thank you.
And
you will?
No, yes, I'll have to, because clearly you're retired, so you've got plenty more time on your hands. And I know that Richard and the other bowlers will benefit greatly from your expertise over the course of the next few weeks as well. To Graham, to Richard, thank you very much indeed. That's all the time that we have here on Lancashire Cricket TV. Thank you so much for joining us. The next game, well, it's next Friday, as far as Lancashire Cricket TV's coverage is concerned, from the Vitality Blast. It's all to come, and what a game it promises to be at Trent Bridge against Nottinghamshire. We'll be live on your stream from 5:30 on all the usual platforms. Till then, thank you to Richard and to Graham. Another win for Lancashire Lightning. It's goodbye for now.